like we've kind of fused together. You know what I'm saying? Like my roles, yin and yang with his roles. It's actually kind of nice. And generally speaking, when you're on a flight and you sit next to thin people, you know, there's always that embarrassing moment sooner or later where they catch you jerking off. And where like a piece of you rolls onto them or falls onto them or nudges them, or if you're getting up, you know, they're not getting your ass, but they're getting this overhang over your ass. That slaps them in the nose. Is that his ass? And you have to explain, no, it wasn't my ass, it was my side gut. But it was nice sitting next to him because it was just like, we both knew exactly what the deal was. We don't care. You know, we just gotta fucking eat, and that's it. Although he started talking about vegetables at one point, I was like, Ralphie, stop. He's like, oh, I like vegetables. I was like, yeah. So here's hanging around on the plane. We had a great time. We talked for like 2 hours and shit flying out here, and then both of us went to sleep because fat people, when they talk a lot. They weren't giving us big lunch. They threw us each a Twix bar. You know? They're like, we're having a meal today. I was like, what was the meal? Like chicken Caesar salad. This backup is a Twix bar. I was like, you hit the right two guys. Then we fought over the candy for a while. He was shirts out of skins. It was weird. And I couldn't see the plane from the outside, but I'm pretty sure that it was like this. I'm pretty sure I left wing clipped the two mountains. People were like, would either of you gentlemen care to step to the other side of the plane? It's like, no, we're comfy and fused. So anyway, that was nice. But why did I tell you that? Why did I name that? Because he told me about this theater, and he was just like, oh, it's a beautiful old theater, but at one point you're going to look up to the left and you're going to swear you see Statler or Waldorf. I'm doing other comics jokes here. So in any event, because the theater is so nice and beautiful, and as you can see, the aisle is very, very thin. Generally, when I do these things, people kind of line up in the aisles, talk about this huge fire hazard. Most people don't give a shit. Here, though, you know, clearly we're all going to get killed if somebody's sitting there. So what we're going to do is, folks around here, volunteers, I believe we're not volunteers, I'm sure they're paid. Are you a paid professional, man? Walking up the aisle, man? Are you volunteer or paid? So she's paid. Okay. You could just say paid. You didn't have to be a fucking security. So paid. Sorry. Where I'm from, people just do jobs voluntarily. It's amazing. So check it out. Anyway, we're gonna start to the right. There are gonna be people with microphones, and they'll find you, raise your hands or some shit like that, and they'll go to you. It's amazing. Like I was like, wow, man, you should make it work out a little bit. I mean, I have to walk them back across the stage. They should at least. Because I know my audience generally, they look like me and they could use the workout. So in any event, the mic's coming to you tonight, and we're going to start on this side, then we go there, then we go there, then we come down here. It's this weird backwards square that keeps going like that. It's not that weird. I'm just used to it this way. So we're down here, and I don't know who it starts with. Does somebody have a mic? We got one already? You're the first one? Okay, this is where we're moving to the Q&A part of the show. That's everything. That's pretty much everything. You set the tone. Apparently they're going to bring it. Do they bring it down? Is that it? Yeah, bring it down. What the fuck? Bring it down. Are you paid or are you a volunteer? You're paid, right? That means you can all abuse the paid employees. Kidding. Hey, you keep coming. This is weird. Should they stay there? I don't know. The theater people, who's in charge? Should they stay where they are? Generally, people stand kind of close. What's that? You want to see him?
See him, yeah. Up there.
All right. I'm all for it, dude. Hey, man. How are you? You didn't take that much from her, or else I can't hear a fucking thing you said. What's on the shirt, boss?
I'm a Transformers fan. So I saw a dude here with the exact same shirt as me, though, and I was kind of hot. Yeah!
I'm so sad I'm going to miss, like, the moment 10 years from now. sitting around in bed. Doesn't like it matters. I'm married too, buddy. Every once in a while, I just gotta suck a dick, though. Just to put shit in perspective for you. It's feel like, you think sometimes you think you're too cool, you suck a dick, you're like, yeah, I'm not too cool. My dick's which is a cool thing, because sucking is very cool, but just, you know, sometimes it's important to serve others. That's just how we keep, like, you guys were in the same show, like, we met at that Minneapolis show. Who's that fat guy who used to make movies? I don't know, but he was wearing out to his prime, I was wearing out to his prime. He turned out to be a sloppy party bottom. How are you, man? Welcome.
I have a writing question for you.
Okay.
I think the mark of any good story is the readers or viewers or listeners or whatever ability to relate to the characters.
Yes.
And I think that's definitely true in a lot of your movies.
Thank you very much.
Anyone who's had a shitty job can relate to Clerks. You know, anyone who's fought a giant poop monster.
As we all have, sooner or later.
But now here you are, I mean, you're living the big life, right? Like you have the job that just about everyone in this theater would want to have. You write comics, you make movies, you got some fame and some fortune. Everyone here is here to see you tonight. And so I guess I have two questions. The first question is, do you think that the Kevin Smith that was able to write, don't worry, just...
Everyone close your eyes, close your eyes. Ain't a woman in this place would fuck me if I was single. Ain't a woman in this place would fuck me if I'm married.
Looks like a Jedi.
Dude, I believe me comfortable.
So the first question was, do you think that Kevin Smith that was still able to write something like Clerks from personal experience is still around now that you have all of this fame, fortune, also like...
No, sadly, that guy stopped existing a long time ago. It's true, it's true, no, it's true. And right, I figured it out after Zack and Miri. After Zack and Miri, I was like, that was too difficult for me. And not difficult to make, but just like, the writing of it, while it came easy, it was still just, it was too easy. You know what I'm saying? It was just, like, I can now write one of those movies in my sleep, and that's not a good place to work from. You know, it was cool when I first started writing Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing shit like that. Wasn't anything out there like it. There was a hole, and I filled it because I wanted to see a movie I could relate to. Then, a lot of people make movies like that now, so it's just, I would, at a time when I started, I was living that life. I was a fucking wage slave, and, you know, we did sit around and fucking talk so we could do anything to try to forget that we were working for a living and shit. Now my job is amazing. Like, this is part of my job. This is one aspect of my job. And there are moments where it's like, oh, I gotta get on a plane. But that's it. Other than that, it's pretty fucking good. So, but the problem with it is, you know, as you stated, the trade-off, you get all these things you went after and shit, and even things you didn't go after start happening for you. But you just get more and more removed from working a job at a convenience store. You know, I ask me how much gallon of milk is now. $2.95. Is that, do you know? Well, you're fucking out of touch, so. So, you know, does that guy exist in me? Yeah, but it's disingenuous, I realize, for me to write movies where people are sitting around, they're like, we can't pay our rent, shit, let's go make a porno. I don't know what it's like to not be able to pay rent, you know? I've been paying rent for a long time to my wife. So I don't know, I do feel a little removed from that, and that's why I think like something like A Couple of Dicks, which is something the movie I just directed, with that movie, like I didn't write it. That's the first time I directed something I didn't write, and generally that would never happen in the past. In fact, I swore it off. In fact, I read many every interview where I said, if you ever see me directing somebody else's script, I must have a fucking mortgage to pay. I just directed somebody else's script, and I don't really have a mortgage to pay. It's stupid. Like, you know, 10 years ago I made a statement like that. 10 years later, how do you explain to yourself, oh no, dude, you want to direct somebody else's script just because your father would have liked this movie? I can't tell that. I can't go back in time and tell the, 20-something-year-old Kevin Smith that and shit, because I'll be like, hey, fucking pussy in video games. Which is ironically what I sound like now. But my father was alive then, shit, I'd have been like, well, fuck him, he doesn't understand my movie. Not fuck him, but like, I loved my parents, I still love them very dearly. But they were never the audience, right? Like, Mom watched Clerks and was like, you spent 28 grand on that piece of garbage? And Dad watched Clerks for 5 minutes and was like, but he was at par for the course. He did that on Chasing Ava too. So I watched Chasing Ava with him and Mom, and fucking the first 15 minutes was weird because they were both laughing at blowjob jokes. And I was just like, how do you? Ooh, you sucked it. And the old man seemed kind of into it, and then he just kind of like nodded off, and I was like, I expected that. I wasn't offended or hurt. I was just like, it's not his fucking speed, man. He's a Clint Eastwood fan and shit like that. My mother stayed up the whole time, watched all the movie, crying at the end. I was like, holy shit, I did it. I reached my mother on some emotional level. As an artist, that is insanely gratifying. Until I was just like, you're crying, Mom. Like, did you, the movie touched you? And she was just like, I identify with that movie in ways you'll never understand. I was like, what? Just had these images of my mom just fucking riding her face. Someone who wasn't my dad, but her tits were as big or something. She was that was a strange thing to hear your mother say. Because you're just like, immediately you're just like, what does that mean, man? And she just gave me that look, and I'm like, I don't know what that means either. Like, I know you think we're adults now, so you must understand. I have no clue what you're talking about. Did you eat pussy? I wish I'd said that, but I don't think my mom would give me a straight answer. Anyway, so yeah, it's tough. There are times where I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, I look at Clerks, and I like Clerks, I think it's funny, but I see that I have a distance from it now where I'm just like, wow, I remember life was like that. And for years and years, I tried to keep life as much, or as close to that as possible. Kept the same friends around me, brought them all along. Some of them went off and made their movies, some of them worked on mine. Kept a close-knit family, never lost it, never started buying into my own hype and shit like that. Played it so carefully because I was always like, I don't want to lose this, I don't want to lose it. It's gone, it just goes. Maybe it'll be back one day, but I doubt it, because I haven't been that person in like 15 years. So it's tough to write from the perspective of like struggling people when it's like, I haven't fucking struggled, it's disingenuous. So now I have to find other things to write about. Right now, I took a couple of Dick's job because I was just like, all right, we're in this world where I'm kind of done doing the types of movies that I'm insanely well known for, or only known for. The notion of telling somebody else's story might just be right up my alley right now. I had done it with the Reaper pilot script, so I was like, maybe I'll try it on a feature film scale and see if it works. I was able to bring Dave Klein, my DP, with me. And for the first time in 15 years, we had like a fat budget to shoot a quasi-action movie. That's something we never would have done before, with the exception of moments of Dogma were action-y, but just embarrassing action. Seriously, the fight scenes in Dogma. It's like watching the 6-year-olds fight. Like, that little video clip of the little kid hockey players who get into the fight. It is an amazing clip, and like online, people are split about it, right? Because there are those of us who are like, that is fucking awesome, those kids beating the shit out of each other. And they're mics, dude. They're like 4 years old, skating around, like, And it's one little fucker who starts all the shit. And it's funny as fuck, and the dude who put it up is the father, and the father's just like, this happened in my son's game, I thought it was kind of funny. We all, most of us, enjoyed it, and then of course there's some people who are just like, this is unnecessary, cruel, and how can you gild your child for a fighting world? And I'm just like, yeah, I get it, I understand, it's irresponsible, but it's fucking funny watching 4-year-olds beat each other. And it's not like he created it, that wasn't like a bum fight or something like that. Dude was just on the ice, and his kids start going out, he's like, fuck yeah, they got a cell phone, they put it up, And he's catching shit for some fucking mom who's like, don't do that to children. He's like, he didn't do anything except film it. And exploit it. But so anyway, so like right now, the thing I'm more excited about than The second to that is... that's the main thing. If I can figure out a way to do podcasts for a living, I wouldn't do anything else, but it's free, and that's the love. I want to make this movie called Hit Somebody. It's a hockey movie, and it's based on a song that Warren's even recorded with Mitch album lyrics. And it's a story about a goon, an enforcer in the mid-70s. So that's what I want to do now. Now, I don't know shit about being a goon. Well, kind of, but not that kind of goon. I'm the kind of goon that's like, I saw fucking Star Wars first. But what I do know about, like, the song hits me somewhere. I identify with the main character in the song for reasons I know why, and for reasons many people can suspect when they finally see the movie when it's all done. So I found a different way to tell a personal story. You know what I'm saying? It's not my story. It's Warren's and Mitch's, but it's a 3-minute song and it gives you a wonderful structure to hang a film on, but it's not the film. I got to fill in all the blanks, but it just kind of came along at the right time. The song expressed something that I would love to say, but never would have thought of saying myself, and now I could use it to do so. So I get kind of excited about that. Now, what does that mean for everybody who's here going like, we love dick and fart jokes, fuck your hockey movie? The film stuff, I don't know, y'all might not be happy with some of the film stuff if you're into the dick and fart jokes for a few years to come, because I just don't have it in me. It's not like I'm above that, I just don't have it in me. I'm not there anymore. I'm 39. I want to talk about hockey for some reason. So it's been an interesting 15 years. Like, I couldn't have predicted this 15 years ago. So I'm curious to see what'll happen. I doubt I'll make it. I'm probably going to make it 2 years drop dead on the stage somewhere. But, I don't know. I'm just kind of interested to see where it all goes. Because, if you'd asked me in 94, what would I be doing in 2009, I was like, oh, making Clerks 13. So I don't know, it's just time to try something else. Especially in a world where it's like, I don't have the keys to the kingdom and shit, I'm Clinton, but like, I get a lot of opportunity thrown my way. And I usually pass a lot of it by because I'm like, no, I want to make this one, I just want to make my own shit and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't know, like the Bruce Willis movie came along and I was like, I always love Bruce Willis. It'd be nice to try to direct a Bruce Willis movie, see if I could do it. Shit, they seem to think I can do it, they asked me. Let's give it a shot. And that's something like 15 years ago. I would have been like, you're a fucking hack. Working for the studios, you fucking sell out. I literally would have called myself a sellout. I wouldn't do it now because I'm 39. I realize, like, sell out. We all fucking sell out, The moment you get a job, you have sold out. That's it. You really want to be a staunch no sellout in this very capitalistic society of ours? Just be like the dudes on the street that don't work. Those are the only dudes on the planet who I'll accept to sell out from. Like, one of those motherfuckers just like, sell out. Do you have a quarter? I would take it serious. I'd be like, there's a dude that knows, because he was true to himself. He never sold out. So anyway, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to try different stuff for the next few years and see what happens. But for me, it's like, look, people like the dick and fart jokes. Now they get it for free on Smodcast every week, And I think Smodcast is way funnier than fucking any movie we've ever made. So anyway, that's where I am. Is that cool? Or is there a 2-part? Did you have a second part?
Well, I had a second part, but I don't want to give everyone's time, so I'll just...
Oh my God, look at how Midwest you are. That is so just because you did that, you get to ask the next one. There's bigger, right? Way more entertaining than me.
No, I was just wondering, so on top of that then, with the fame and fortune that you have, how do you stay grounded to yourself then? I mean, again, everyone in this room, and this is a lot of people, I can tell you not as many people have ever come to hear me say anything, but they're all here for you. How do you stay grounded with that kind of, I don't know, influence, fame?
I don't know, I just don't think about it really. Like, here's the thing, like 5 minutes before I walked out, and this is awesome, don't get me wrong, I fucking love this. And I love going to places like, Minnesota's my kind of place, you know what I'm saying? Like, I came from Jersey, but Minnesota is so close to Jersey, except we didn't have the Prince. So coming out here is easy. There's always like a little moment, I've been doing this for so long that it's pretty easy, but there's always a little moment before I go out where I'm like, this could be the night where I just totally fucking suck. Or I walk out there and they're just like, Like, did you ever see that episode of The Simpsons where Bart was the I didn't do it boy? I dread the moment that I go out there and I'm like, I didn't do it! And they're like, was it? Is this past for comedy? You know what I'm saying? How was I talking about that? Grounded, thank you. That happens a lot more lately. For the last year I've been smoking so much weed, I'll tell you about that. I'm on a journey to self-discovery. And it's amazing, and I swear to you, before you're all late, I'm going to convert you. You're sitting here going, I don't like weed, it makes me sleepy, or cranky, or paranoid. You're going to love weed when you leave here. You are going to love it. And I'm going to preach about it not in the way where I'm Woody Allen, I'm like, save him. I'm just going to tell you, it's amazing. So anyway, a few minutes before I came out here, not 5 minutes, I was sitting in the back and I asked for an oscillating fan, not an oscillating fan, just a table fan. Because generally I fucking sweat profusely all the time. So I had just taken a shower and got all dried at the hotel and shit. The walk from my room downstairs, I was so dirty. So I come back in here and I'm sitting in front of the fan and I'm trying to find an angle where I don't disgust myself. Sitting on the couch, you know what I'm saying? Because like, you ever see a fat person sitting? You just saw a fat person sitting. I guarantee you there's some people going, Jesus Christ. It just keeps going. This motherfucker's undulating. So I was sitting back there on the couch and I was going, ugh, I'm such a fucking idiot, man. Like, why can't I just eat right? Why must I only enjoy processed foods? Why can't I give a vegetable a try? Frankly, May likes vegetables. But, and then I come out here and I'm just like, hey, let's start talking. But from here to here, I don't go like, oh, it's all better now. I'm out here talking to you and for like 3 hours, I forget it. Then I go back and I go to collect my shit and I walk in front of a mirror and I go, fuck it, god damn it. And then I slouch back to the fucking hotel and buy some porn, jerk off sadly. Eat some snacks, call the wife, confess to jerking off. Cry, you know, I'm sorry I cheated on you with me. And I'm planning to do the same thing tomorrow, you know? It's easy to stay grounded, man. It really is. It's so easy. I had great parents that weren't just, my parents weren't the parents that you could do anything you want, Kevin. My parents were like, you'll probably go to college like your brother and sister and get a job at Long John's, the restaurant, like your brother Donald. Because I showed no individuality whatsoever, no streak, no spark, nothing. I was a little fat kid like Star Wars a lot. And my parents were like, he ain't gonna earn off that. Fucking wrong, man. So when my parents were raising me, they never made us feel like super special. Like my mother made me feel special but in a creepy way. My mother would say shit like, you know you're the special one of all the kids because I lost one before you and one after you. Isn't that weird to hang on a child? I've heard that for 39 years, so it never occurred to me until I said it to somebody else. I may have said it to my wife where I was like, well, my mom said I was special because she lost one before me and one after me. And Jim is just like, oh, you poor thing. You know, that never occurred to me. It's weird. It wasn't like, you know, I ripped one out of me with a hanger before you. She just lost it. You know, sometimes it happens. So that would disturb me. Then I'd be like, Mom. But she just miscarried her shit. But she used to maintain that, like, hey man, the one before you fucking died, and the one after you died, so you're special. And so she was saying you're special, but at the same time, it was just like, so you better do well in this life, or your ghost brothers, the ones you killed, the ones who gave their life so you can live fat like Star Wars. So my mom would always say you're special because of that and shit like that. But generally, they were not really like, follow your dreams, you can do anything you want. Go be a filmmaker, because we didn't come from that world. My father worked at the fucking post office. And he wasn't the guy who delivers your mail, which is like a moderately cool job. He's the dude that cancels your stamp. The one everybody use it again. So it wasn't, there was no like, hey, go make films, or hey, do this, or hey. And my brother and sister did college, and they were just like, college is a waste, just go to work and shit. And not because they were like, that's all you're good for. It's just everyone in our family ever did that. Like our nuclear family and our generations of Smiths and Schultz and whatever's going back. That's all they did. People worked jobs. That's it. Didn't dream or try for shit. A lot of them didn't even go to college. So when I finally got to doing shit like that, I come at it with this prism. I view it through the prism of my parents, which is like, this is nice, but just know that if you ever need a real job, Donald can still get you in at the restaurant. Like for 5 years they said that, from clerks to and then finally after Dogma, I was like, I think I'm okay, Mom. You can tell them to fill that position. So they just raised me very, very well, and just, taught me never get too full of yourself, and fucking like, there's always somebody cooler than you, and we were raised kind of Christian when that wasn't a bad thing. So it just means like I tend to be a lot kinder and nicer to people than people that other people have around me and shit. Not colleagues, but it's a weird business where everyone feels the need. Once they get that golden ticket, people just turn into absolute pricks. Like in front of your eyes, man. All of a sudden it's like they're canonized. They turn into sink shithead. And they just turn around and stop being that cool person they were. So I don't know, that shit like that made me want to try really hard to kind of stay close to who I was when I got into this game. Problem was, what snuck up on me was I was so busy watching for like, gotta stay grounded, can't become a fucking big-headed asshole, that what I didn't see coming up the rear was lack of relevance in terms of like, can't write those movies anymore. Lack of connection to that period. So maybe if I'd been watching for that, I might have become an asshole, but I'd rather do it this way. Because there's other movies to make, but I just hate rudeness. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people are uncivil to people and shit like that, that's just not my bag. So I'd much rather just be nice. I know, I forgot where I was. And people like, so do we. I live in Minneapolis. Minnesota is like the Canada of North America. But anyway, I don't know. There's no formula. It's just that it never occurred to me to go prick. It always occurred to me to like be slobberingly grateful. Just because too, like you never know if somebody's just gonna kick you out and shit. And they were like, you got all uppity. And whether it's one person or the universe or God or cosmically or karma or whatever, I just feel like, reap what you sow. So I'm just going to sow nothing but, dick jokes. And what I've been reaping is tons of cocks coming at me forever. But are we good? Thank you, sir. Go get another beer. Hey! Don't cry. We're just 2 precious seconds. How are you? I'm well, it's like you're right here next to me. It's like I'm touching your boob. So are mine. You want to touch mine?
Yeah.
Rub the mic. Isn't that weird? It's not infidelity at all.
I was curious, big fan.
Thank you.
Obviously, everybody here has got the Smodcast, gets me through class and everything.
Thank you.
And on all your movies, whatever.
Thanks.
I was curious about Elias.
Yes.
My sister and I love
Who's from here?
I know.
The actor who plays him, Trevor.
Trevor, yeah.
Minnesota. When I was doing the press tour for Clerks 2 at one point, he came with me because he was like, I'm from Minnesota, can I go? And I was like, he was in town. And he goes, hey man, I hear you're in town, can I come see you? And I said, yeah, why don't you come do press with me? And he did all the Minnesota press with me. It was kind of fun and shit, because he was a local. We'd be sitting there talking, and then he would be like, well, I'm from here. And they're like, really? And he'd bust a name, and they'd be like, oh! And all the conversation would go there. I was like, fucking Trevor. But anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. I was curious about where the inspiration for Elias came from. Is it based on somebody that you know, or did you just dream it up one night? And how much of the character was what you wrote, and how much of it was Trevor's interpretation, like the little clap thing that he does, and all that, the little, yes. So I was just curious about that.
That I give full credit to that performance, to that actor, to Trevor. He did a phenomenal job with it. Everything that he said was on the page. He's not a bad big ad-libber. But what he did was find that character. I think when I was writing it, he sounded more like a kid who we knew at the San Diego Comic Con for like 6 years in a row. This dude, Toad, would hang out at our booth. I didn't call him Toad. Brian Johnson named him Toad because he fucking looked like Toad. So, nice kid. Maybe you think he had some sort of, and when I say kid, he was one of these 21-year-olds who still lived with his parents, but not in that way of like, man, I don't want to leave, rent's expensive. In one of those ways of like, he probably had a helmet when he was a kid. Great kid. So he'd come over and hang out, and Brian like took him on as his young ward, kind of twisted Robin to his perverse Batman. And he would hang out, and like, you know, they would send him to run errands, like, go over and ask Lou Ferrigno for $1. You know? and you know, he was their guy, like, he'd go grab a pizza and shit, and they'd buy him lunch, and then we'd give him tons of, like, VSQ shit, and he'd go off and get all the free stuff you can get at the con, like the exclusive action figures and stuff. So it was him. It was basically, when I wrote it, he wasn't like Christian and shit like that as far as I knew. He was just a dude, like his story really captured my imagination. Like he had been there the first year with us at the con. He'd gone with like a cousin or something like that. The next year he showed up in San Diego and 2 days into the con, he revealed that he had run away from home to go to the con. Which at age 22 is kind of cute. And he was wondering if one of us would notify not his mother, but his, whoever, his guardian or something like that. And we were like, yeah, we'll take it over. But suddenly it was just like, and then his guardian was just like, okay, well, you guys are in charge of him for the next 3 days. We're like, we don't even know this fucking kid. I mean, we sent him to get a box from Lou Ferrigno, but that's it, okay? So the thing about him that I always found really interesting was he would talk about the movies, like, not so much the Transformers, but movies with, like, Lord of the Rings with such fucking passion. And he was always, he talked in a voice like this. Hey, Brian, you're an ass face. Ha ha ha. Like that. And Brian, totally called me an ass face. So basically it was kind of written for him, and written not for him, but to his persona. So much so that when Johnson read it, he's like, you gotta get Toad, dude. He's going, that's Toad, isn't it? And I said, kinda. And he's going, get Toad to do it. And I was just like, dude, you can't. It's not. You can't. He's not an actor. I'm trying to make a movie here. I'm not just putting it in because you think it'd be funny if some dude's terrible in the role. So it was written based on that guy, a dude who would hang out at cons with us and shit like that, and he was way into sci-fi and fantasy and crap. But he was constantly living in fear of his guardian. His guardian was always keeping him under thumb. I have to go in at 6 o'clock every night, that kind of thing. And when a 22-year-old dude says that, you're like, Jesus Christ, dude. There was a time where Johnson, we were back in Jersey, and Johnson, we were sitting around watching TV, and out of nowhere, he just goes, would you think it was crazy if I tried to adopt Toad? Come on, dude. Because I feel bad for him. I talk to him. He's out in Arizona. He's always complaining, like he gets no respect out there. I was like, you don't respect him either, man. And he's like, I respect him. It seems like one of those people. And like, he just needs fucking somebody to hang out with and set him straight like you did years ago. So I was like, what the fuck? You thought I was Toad years ago? So it came from there. That's where the last came from. Then, when Trevor came in to do the first reading, and I had seen Trevor in Jeff's movie, Now You Know, and really liked him in it. So when I was writing the flip, I was thinking of Trevor. Didn't know if he could do it, but I had him in my head. So when it was done, Jeff read it. I was like, do you think that dude Trevor could pull this off? He's like, I don't know, let's try it out. So he came in, we did the first day of rehearsal with Trevor, and it wasn't there. Elias wasn't hitting at all. And then he did this thing where he went, and suddenly I was like, wait, what was that? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was just thinking of something to say. And I was like, okay, that's Elias. Always thinking of something to say, always doing this, and always like, so do you think that everything ends in a question mark? And he was like, all right, let me try it. And then it became the character. And I fell in love with that character because of that performance. So I give it up to Trevor, man. He really shaped that into, it was just words on a page about goofy dude living with his parents and like the Transformers. He fucking really just fleshed it up in such a memorable way where the character instantly became one of my top 10 favorites after that performance. Thanks. Hey.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, thank you. I have a big favor to ask.
Yes.
Start off, my wife bought me these tickets for Father's Day present. She couldn't make it tonight because my son is sick.
Okay. How sick?
Throwing up, diarrhea.
That's enough.
Cancer.
I thought you were gonna rock me with my boy has cancer and I was gonna start rolling tears. And you're like, my boy's got the shits.
So other than that, she didn't want to leave with you at the babysitter. Anyways, the thing is, my favor to ask of you is, my firstborn son, I named him Dante.
Okay.
So here comes the problem.
Okay.
She's pregnant. We're doing January 7th. And
Your son Dante is pregnant? Your wife's pregnant. She's having another kid.
Our second.
Come on, dude. Is it a boy?
Yes.
Come on, you know the way you got it.
I can't do it.
Why? That's way better than Dante.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm fighting for Brody.
Brody's nice, but still, Randall. I don't even have kids named Dante Randall. Not even turtles or fish, and I should, but be the man I can't be, dude. Because my wife will only let me name my kid Harley Quinn. Is this the part where you're going to ask me to sleep with your wife? I will, if you like. If you guys have a glass table at home, that's how I prefer to do it. I can't fuck because I'm married, but I like to lie under the glass table and watch shit go into other people. What we'll do is we'll make sure the kid is asleep.
Do you come to me or I bring you?
No, I mean, look, you probably fucked in your home 1,000 times, right? Come fuck in my place. Fair enough. Do you want me to talk to your lady? Is that it?
Yes, please.
How are we going to accomplish this?
I got my cell phone. I'll tell you the number right now. I trust you.
I will call, but can I use your phone?
Yes.
It's a local call, right?
Yes.
If I use my phone, it's like $2.
There you go.
There we go. What's your name? Wait, what's your name, dude? You can say. What is it?
Jed. J-E-D.
Jed?
Jed.
Thank this man. He gave us a phone. I think that flips.
Please show me this number. 763.
Is that Minnesota?
Yes. 232.
Is that still Minnesota?
2534.
253. What's her name?
Tina.
Speaker.
Doesn't know what to do. It's a machine. What's your name, Jed?
Jed.
Wow, that's a long message. You're killing my show, dude. Tina, hey, how are you? This is awkward. I've been trying to figure out how to do this for weeks. We didn't mean to do this, but Jed and I fell in love. I gave him a Dutch rudder and he actually sucked. Really, it's Kevin, and I'm sorry you missed the show. I'm sorry you got stuck watching The Sick Kid. We all just lambasted him for not watching his own Sick Kid. But then he corrected us and told us that you got me a gift for Father's Day. And then I said, hey buddy, I don't want to get into your fucking personal life. And then he said, fuck you, Smith, I paid like $40 to call my wife. And I was like, hey man, I thought going to Minnesota was cool. And he was like, not me, bitch. Anyway, hi, just say hi, thanks, sorry for the show.
Down front!
Yeah, where?
Front!
Oh, right on. Is anybody a masseuse? Are you really?
Get up on the
My
stage!
calves are like, I keep Charlie horses here. I'm going to like collapse at one moment. Like because I work my toes a lot. Because I try to, it's all illusory, because people go, wow, you carry your fat really well. Because that's why I'm down. God, Charlie horse is bad, man. Go ahead, ask your question. I got to stretch it. Somebody give me a banana. Go ahead, ask your question.
Did you stop off at Paisley Park and say hi to Prince?
No, now I know why my calves are hurting. I did not stop by, but I would like to. I just don't foresee it happening. Wouldn't it be a cool world if I could call him up and be like, hey dude, I'm coming to do the steak, can I stay at your place? I wonder what it would do if I called him and did that out of the blue. I'm just like, hey Prince, it's Kevin Smith. I'm coming to town, can I hang out? What? No. Absolutely not. He got pissed, man. He got real cheesed and shit. It is weird. It's a weird world. I love Prince. I grew up loving Prince music and still like Prince's music. But it's a weird thing when you like somebody's music and you know they're like, I hate that fucking guy. You know what I'm saying? It's strange. It's strange. Like, think about your favorite artist right now and think about what if you like them and their music, but they're like, I hate you. It's weird. That's the kind of relationship we have, a non-relationship. But it makes me sad because certainly didn't mean to piss him off. I was just telling a story, but I guess I shouldn't have. How did I shouldn't have mentioned Prince World. Yeah, that was the problem. Once I mentioned Prince World, that was it. That was all. I made the list and shit. He's like, dearly beloved, nobody talks about Prince World. Yeah, but no, I'm not going to stop by basically. How did I piss him off? There's a long story I tell about it on, what is it? It's the first one?
First one.
Second one? Well, it's my first and second. The first one, I tell Evening with Kevin Smith DVD, I tell a long story about working with Prince. And then I tell the second one, a P.S. to the story, what happened later on. Did you just nudge him? He did nudge you, didn't he? What's that all about, dude? No, you can watch that for free online. On YouTube. What was with the nudge, man? So you were nudging, go ask. Were you really? We're like, psst, ask, I'm too chicken, do it. What were you asking, Jim? I'm sorry. Oh, the thing, yeah, it's online. I don't want to do it. Most people have heard it already. Probably. But anyway, yeah, so check it out. Wow, that got too real. Let me go over here. Rescue the show. Hey, how are you? I'm serious, man. Nobody's been Susan this piece? Fuck. How are you? You look like you have strong hands. I'm just talking about some calf work. That's it. No happy endings, no full release. Just work these calves.
I've been told I can give massages.
Do you really? I don't believe it. I can't. My old lady was like, I read on the fucking website there's some lady who's rubbing you down on stage. You gotta stop doing these things, Kevin. What's your question, man?
I was curious, what's the story behind you and Ben Affleck? How did you meet?
I met him. He was one of the dudes that auditioned for Mallrats. And right before he came in, I remember reading an article about him in the Hollywood Reporter where him and a friend of his named Matt had sold a script to Castle Rock called Good Will Hunting. And it was such a memorable name, because I was like, what a weird name. But they'd sold it, it was a spec script they wrote themselves, and their agent sold it for like 800 grand and shit, so it was kind of a big story. And 2 days later, he came in to audition for Mallrats. So I remembered his name when they said it was Ben Affleck, and I hadn't seen him in movies before, he was in Days Confused and shit. And I was like, oh dude, congratulations, I saw you just sold the script from your friend and shit. He's like, yeah, we're kind of excited. And it's over at Castle Rock, which was, you know, Rob Reiner was a partner in it at one point, so he was like, yeah, it's Meathead's company. And then we just kind of grew close over the film, like we would hang out and while we were making it, and even though he was playing like the kind of one-note bully role and shit, he was able to find some fun things to do with it. Clearly he was a better actor than the material allowed for. But more so than that, he was just fun to be around, got a great sense of humor, funny dude. So throughout the show, he would, while we were shooting, he would be like, oh, I gotta go back to LA for a meeting on Good Will Hunting. And you know, his character didn't shoot every day on our show. So I'd be like, dude, go back, you know, just come back when we need you in 4 days. So if you gotta go, feel free. And then I'd go into my office and I would find a little note. And I'd open it up like a note card note. And it was from Ben. And he wrote me a note like, thanks for letting me go to this thing. It's really cool. Yeah, I just want you to know I'm having a great time in the movie. And this is great. Okay, bye. And that was it. And he left like 3 times. Each time he left a note. And I was just like, this motherfucker was raised right. So at the end of the movie, when he was all done, he asked for a ride to the airport. I said, fuck you. He's like, that's far from being Prairie, dude. Yeah, I know, right? I did that later on. So anyway, as he's leaving, we were in the production office at the Eden Prairie Mall, and he's taking off, gives me a hug, and he goes, you going to LA after this? I said, yeah, I think we're going to go to LA and cut the movie. I was still living in Jersey at the time, but I was like, we're going to go post in LA, that's where they want to do it. And he goes, well, I live in LA, man, so when you get out there, fucking just call me, dude. We should hang out, because I'm a good guy. And he'll talk about, he tells a story like, dude, I didn't literally mean I'm a good guy. I was just saying like, yeah, we should hang out, I'm a good guy. Fuck that. I saw it, I was at the receiving end. What I saw was a fucking 8-year-old boy. I'm a good guy. So right then and there, I like this guy. When I went back to LA, we did kind of hang out a little bit, not that much. And then I just liked him enough to start writing for him. So I wrote Chasing Amy with him in mind. By that point, I'd started going out with Joey. So Joey knew I was writing. Ben didn't know I was writing. And I called Ben one day from, I was in Tampa. Joey was shooting a show down there. I was visiting her, and she was on set, so I was back at the hotel. I called up Ben, and I was like, you know what, dude, we chit-chat, and I said, dude, I'm about 50 pages in on this script in which you're the lead. It never occurred to me to ask if you would want that. And there was dead silence. So he's like, what do you mean writing me a lead? You're writing me a part in a movie? I said, yeah, the lead dude. I think you can pull it off because I think you're really talented and funny and shit and charming. And, you know, most people just think you're a bully ass fucker who paddles kids. But I think if you fucking play closer to who you are, man. Like, if I cast you as you in this flick, I think it'll totally work. And he was like, dude, I'll do it in a heartbeat. So he came to Jersey to pick up the script for Chasing Amy, and while he was there, he was like, can you guys drive me back to Boston? Because he took a train down, and I was like, no, dude, that's too far. So we took him to the train station, and so he could take his own fucking train back to Boston. But he said, well, it's a long ride, dude. At least give me something to read besides this. And I was just like, there's a script I wrote called Dogma that I haven't done anything with. You want to read that? And he was like, yeah, I'll read that. So he got home, and he was just like, I was like, what, he called me, and he read them on the train. I was like, what'd you think? Did you like Chasing Amy? He goes, yeah, it was good, dude, but Dogma's the bomb. And I was like, well, you know, we're not fucking there yet. And he's like, well, I'm just saying, I want to play Bartleby. I was like, dude, nobody's going to let you play Bartleby. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. You're wrong, I got peeps, and they want to see me play an angel. serious. You know, and then also, who's to say he was fucking retarded or wrong? He did have peeps eventually. He knew they were out there, he just hadn't connected with them yet. But he had the utmost faith that those peeps were wanting to see him fly around, play angels. And he was right, they did. So we just kind of hit it off, and then, you know, I would just write for him and put him in stuff. Love being around him. He's just a fun, great guy. And just a good friend from that period. It's weird, though, because lives change. I don't, you know, most people, because we were in the movies, most people are like, you guys must fucking be so tight and hang out. I see that dude once every year and a half or something like that. It's just not, I'm married, he's married, he makes movies, I make movies, I do other things, he do other things. You know, it's just, you don't live in that world. And I got in trouble fairly recently for, not trouble, but, you know, when I do this, I tend to fucking be very candid and tell stories, and sometimes I tell stories that aren't mine. Which is never usually a problem for me. Because I feel I tell stories and I feel like my stories humanize these people that most people can't see or touch because they're fucking movie stars or some such shit. So I always feel like I'm doing the person whose story it is that I'm telling about a favor. They don't see it that way at fucking all. For years, Affleck has been like, hey man, like I saw, you know, somebody came up to me and said, well, you said something on stage about me and shit like that. And I was like, yeah, I said this fucking big old. And he's going, oh. And this is years ago, it was 2-3 years ago. And I go, oh man, do you not want me to tell stories about you on stage? And he laughed, and he was just like, look at how scared you got. I was like, I'm not scared, I just suddenly realized. And then like, I'd never asked, but like, they're such dope stories, and I'm a part of them too. He's like, I don't care. He's going, some people don't understand that you're kidding about like when I say shit like, fucking Affleck, he's a chump, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really? That's weird. I mean, anybody who knows me like knows how much I love you. And he's just like, Kevin, not everyone knows you. So ever since that, was 2 years ago, I was trying to kind of mindful of it and shit. And then I told an old story, an old Ben story, while I was doing press on Zach and Mary. One that I told a zillion times, and it's out in the world on YouTube and shit like that. Never once thought anything of it. And there's somebody from the Daily News in attendance, from Russia Malloy, and they wrote the story into the Daily News, this old story that got him in a little bit of Dutch, put him in a weird position. And he was very upfront about letting me know that. And I was just like, then it was weird. Then it got into a weird place where I'm one of these people, I'm a horrible person to fight with because I cannot lose. And not because I can't lose because I'm always right. I will do anything. I will cut your fucking throat to win the argument. Literally, like, oh God, it's just, what the fuck? And I'm like, well, I told you. So in that moment, like, you know, he kind of hit me with an email, but it was just, you know, this wasn't it word for word, but akin to like, what the fuck, dude? Like, seriously, stop talking about my life. And I wrote back like, hey, not for nothing, but that's my story too. And here's a list of things you've done to me over the last 15 years that I never said anything about. Which is the least mature way in the world to handle any issue, you know? But I'm one of those people. I bury it. I don't like to come out all the time and say, you know, this bugged me or that bugged me. I'm just like, you know what, let it ride. But the problem is when I sit there and go, let it ride, it goes onto a fucking pile. The pile gets up to the top, and then all you have to do is just slightly gender that motherfucker. And that's what he did. You know, when he wrote the email confronting me, going, hey, what you did is wrong, rather than be like, wow, he's right, and feel, you know, some sort of contrition, I was just like, hey, fuck you. And here's all the shit you did to me, so what do you got to say now? And he didn't have anything to say. So we kind of had this weird moment, and I felt bad as the time went by, and I was like, you know what, it's not my story to tell. It's kind of my story to tell, but if it's fucking with him at all, and he is my friend, and I do love him, then why tell it, you know what I'm saying? Why tell any story that's gonna get him in trouble? Then again, the flip side of it is he very easily gets into trouble. So there's that. So I met him then. He's been a lifelong friend. I just sent him the other day he's off shooting a movie in Boston right now. And I sent, his assistant is very good friends with my wife. We sent her a bunch of stuff, and along with the package, I sent a picture of him and Carlin from Jersey Girl. I was cleaning out my office, I found this beautiful 8x10, put it in a frame, sent it out to him. And he dropped me an email going, that's so awesome, I'm in the middle of this movie, I want to talk to you, and it's all done, blah, blah, blah. So we're definitely friends, and friends for life, and we are bonded. Like in that letter that I wrote him, aside from the full, here's the fucking 15 things you do wrong, it was also very heartfelt from my end, where I'm just like, look, man, 14, 13, 15 years ago, what was it, 1996, what would that be? 15 years ago, 14 years ago, 13, wasn't it? My math is failing. How many years ago was it? Your math is no better, you said nothing. 13 years ago, we were bonded very tightly. Like, Ben lived on my couch in my condo. Joey slept with me up in the room in the condo. Jason Lee wasn't too far away. Scott Mosier lived in the other room. We were bonded, man. You live like gypsies when you make movies like that. And it's a all for one for all, let's put on a show kind of thing. And then that movie becomes what it is, and we're bonded forever because of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we kept making movies together, so people immediately go, oh, they're a team, blah, blah, blah. But like, you gotta allow for the possibility that as you grow, you may grow apart from people. I love Ben Affleck as much as I love any of my friends in my life. I just don't really have that much in common with him anymore, aside from everything we used to do together. Like, he's going in different places. I think Ben's going to politics. One day you're going to see Ben in politics in a big way. I don't know anything about politics. I'm not even sure where Vermont is. And what's weird is that has nothing to do with politics. So, like, you know, our interests change and whatnot, and he's a father now, and he's got kids to hang out with, I've got a kid to hang out with, we've got wives. We'd rather fuck our wives than talk to each other, I guess, or hang out with them. Which would you rather do, play video games with Ben Affleck or fuck your significant other? Where is he? Which one?
Scott, stand up.
You chose right. You chose right. You know, it just happens. So, but I know by virtue of the fact that all the movies are made and all the interviews and all the other things that people are like, you guys must be like this, but not really. I mean, there was a time when yes, absolutely, but as time went on, like that dude fucking rocketed into the stratosphere pretty early. And it was nice because we know him before he was that guy, but still, like, lives go like this. You don't have to be married to every actor you ever work with and shit. And we've just kind of hit that place. It's not a bad thing, it's just the way it is. When we see each other, we're absolutely affectionate and whatnot, but, you know, we just, like I said, I haven't seen the dude, let me see, about a year and a half it's been since I laid eyes on him. So, he's a good guy, though. I'm sorry, I went into a weird place for you, but yeah. You asked, and I don't have a fundamental inability to just be like, he's great, here's a funny story about him. You know, if something's going on with him in my life, I'm gonna be like, well, me and Ben don't talk anymore. Chick's just like, I was kind of hoping you'd say something involving farts, but whatever. You probably didn't care about farts, though. You just wanted to hear about how cool Ben is.
No, I just was curious. I like you more.
Do you?
Oh, yes. This was a wedding present from my brother, so.
Was it really? Who got married? Your brother? And it gave you a gift?
He's my husband, and my brother's in Iraq right now, so.
What? That's a lot of information. Your brother's in the service?
My brother's in Iraq right now.
Serving?
Yep.
Not just hanging out.
No. He saw that.
I want to tell him to come home.
I wish he was home.
Yes.
But he saw you were going to be in town, and he's like, I have a present for you, but I don't know if you can get off work. And I'm like, well, what is it? And he's all like, I got you tickets to see Kevin Smith, and I freaked out. I was jumping up and down and everything, because you're my favorite.
It's just weird that the dude's like, if I was your brother, I'd be like, okay, now what are you going to do for me? Because I'm over here defending the fucking country and buying you tickets to see the Flat Corks guy. How about you send a fucking rescue squad? Get me the fuck out of here. That's very sweet. Tell him I said thank you, and tell him I said come home safely. How long have you guys been married?
Since July 25th.
Oh, because you know the exact date. That's so sweet. How long were you dating? Don't keep looking I'm pretty sure right away. He must fuck like a stallion. He does it well.
Oh, yes.
You take care of him?
Oh, yeah.
No holds barred.
Oh yeah.
Birthdays maybe?
That's up to him. He can have whatever he wants.
Oh! Dude, what are you doing here? If I was you, I'd be like, what I want right now is a foursome.
We won't go that far.
Oh, there's lines and shit. Apparently your love's not very deep. What is your line? What's your line? What's the thing? What's the top of the list of like things I will not do?
It's only me and him. Nothing else.
You really never want to let anybody else in? You're shrewd, man. You're smart. That's because you're like, that's how you lose this job. Let somebody else in. I was sitting next to fucking J-Lo the first time I was ever on the Tonight Show. And sometimes you go to break and you see people lean over and talk. I always wanted to do that. And they go, we'll be right back. And you can't hear what they're saying. I'm just like, I'm going to have a conversation. A conversation I've seen for years on television, on the Tonight Show. So he's like, we'll be right back. And I was just like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, you did a great job. I said, thank you. I said, I just read an article, I think it was in Wired, where they talked about you're the only late night talk show host who's never had a guest host. Somebody come and sub for you when you're away. And he goes, that's how you lose this job. It was so fucking funny and honest and telling, and it was just a really cool moment where I was like, I hear you, brother. But anyway, why did I fucking tell that story? That's how you lose this job. Yes, you're right not to let other people into the bedroom. But aren't you a little curious? Is there no part of you that wants to see him fuck other people? Really? I guess that's the way most people think, right?
I like fucking him. I don't want any. That's fine.
I'm sorry, I don't want to fuck him.
I'd rather watch myself fuck him.
Oh, like videotape or mirror? See, alright, but I can't. See, that's where we differ. I'm the kind of guy where I'm always trying to talk my wife into having sex with somebody else. She never does it, but I'm always trying to talk her into it. This is the philosophy. I can't watch us fuck because I don't want to look at this. There's nothing sexy about this. She is fucking drop dead sexy, but if we were to fuck in front of a mirror, or worse, tape it, I would look at the resulting image and be like, why would someone that fine fuck a pig like that? And I would lose respect for her for fucking a pig like that. But what I would like to do, I can appreciate her beautiful form, and I would rather see her have sex with other people and shit who are thin as well. I like to see thin people having sex. But she won't do it. She's like you. She's like, I just want to be with you. I'm like, you pussy. Yeah, chicks, they're not really the first ones to stampede toward that threesome and foursome. But you guys have been married since July? Give it a couple of years. A couple of years, you guys would be bored, sitting around, be like, oh. And that's him. I think marriage though, man, good for you. Since July, was it amazing? Did you have like a white wedding and shit, like a lot of people?
Yeah.
You didn't do the elope thing? You were like, I'm doing it.
I wish I had.
Yeah.
It was hell.
On you or him?
Me. He didn't do anything except for call people.
And that's why he don't get anal. What did he call?
We had to call like the priest and like the people who were doing for the reception because I hate
The guests?
sometimes. I did everything else. I paid and he didn't. He called. I paid.
This dude was fun. Now I want to fuck this dude. Because if this dude can get a woman to pay for his fucking wedding, he must fucking make you come buckets. There's a chick literally sitting there thinking about that dude's dick, man. She wanted her own place like that, ain't no further. Was there any disappointment yet in marriage? Or have you guys fought?
Yeah.
What about threesomes? What have you guys fought about?
Family.
You're like, I paid for the wedding, you piece of shit! Family? What about your family? Like, you don't like his or you don't like yours?
It's kind of. His sister kind of goes off and on and whatnot, but I love her to death. His whole family they're crazy. They do crazy stuff.
I know.
It's quite entertaining to watch though, because him and his brother just there's little syndrome.
I'm gonna stop you before you get to this. Just digging a big old hole. The dude's sitting back there going, oh, this fucking bitch is dead. What'd you tell me you paid for the wedding for? That was true. What the fuck why'd you tell him?
He knows I love his family.
Right on. It don't matter. You don't have to love his family. You just have to love his dick. That's it. That's what keeping marriage together. I've been married 10 years. I love my wife more than anything in the world. But love is, personally, I don't believe love's enough, man. I've loved lots of people and shit. I had ex-girlfriends that I absolutely loved and thought I would marry, but I'm not married to them. So obviously love is mutable. You know what I'm saying? Sex is not. That's the glue. As long as we fuck, that marriage is stable. If we go out fucking for a few days, then we're at each other's fucking throats, and then we're sitting there, why the fuck did I marry you? And then we fuck, we're like, oh yeah. Isn't that weird? There's somebody on this earth, I swear to you, unless she's not that good an actress, so she couldn't be lying for this long. There was somebody, she couldn't be lying this long. There is somebody on this planet who, when they think about putting a fucking dick in them, they're thinking of my sorry dick. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that cool? I found somebody who's willing to fuck me on a regular basis. Love it. Love it. But that's the glue. You know, the love comes and goes and shit, or it comes in waves. Sometimes, look, when you're trapped next to somebody for like that long period, human beings, I personally believe, we're not meant to be monogamous. Spread the seed around, keep the species going. Like octopuses, every once in a while people go, well, you know, you're like, what other species is monogamous? And people will say, well, octopuses are. And I'm like, great, us and octopuses. Everyone else is having a great old fuck fest out there. Us and the octopuses are like, well, fidelity's great, that's good guys. But the beauty of love, I feel, is that you meet that person and they change you so much that you are willing to kind of turn your back on, deny billions of years of evolutionary history that tells us, not just men, women as well, to fuck as many different people as possible to keep the species going. We're not too worried about keeping the species going anymore. So now we fuck for pleasure, fuck for love, or any number of other reasons, but still that's kind of buried, ingrained somewhere in us about we gotta keep going, fuck a lot, many. And when you meet that person that you fall in love with, you literally shut that off and you turn your back on your own DNA and genetics and say, regardless of what my nature tells me to do, I'm gonna do the stupidest thing on earth. Not fuck anybody else. And that's love, that's a beautiful thing. But when you make that trade-off, by God, you better take it up the ass. And that's exactly what my wife said to me, and that's why I let my wife fuck me up the ass. Because that's love. Every once in a while, you gotta take it. That's what you tell your man.
I think you just did it well enough for me.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Oh, I told him all that. Dude, let her wear a strap-on. Like, seriously, she's a good kid, and she's obviously way into you, and she paid for the wedding. Let her fuck you. Just because you've never done that with another boy, have you?
What's that?
You've never done that with another boy? Strapped one on, fucked him up the ass? That could be something you share together. Don't you have those conversations? Like, I always have that conversation with my wife in the beginning. Like, you compare notes, what have you done, what have you done? And then you try to figure out what either of you hasn't done and aim toward that one day. So that you have shared memories. Because, you'd be like, oh, what about fucking 2000? fingers up the ass with a dick in your pussy. She's like, yeah, when I was 16. You're like, okay, not that, okay. What about sex on the waterbed with a flaming gold in the quarter of the free time, you know. It's like, you gotta find that stuff that kind of, you know, that go to that thing where it's like you've never done it with someone else and they've never done it with somebody else. That sounds like it. A strap-on. You know what I'm saying? Do you think you could do it? Would it be awkward for you?
Yeah.
It's awkward for me, and I'm built that way. I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy being the aggressor, particularly when this isn't very aggressive. I just like to lay there and let shit happen to me. And thankfully, my wife is very orgasmic from being on top, so we got a marriage made in heaven. Every once in a while, though, she goes, "It'd be nice if you got on top," and I was like, "Yeah, well." She comes way harder if she's on top, so I'm like, why bother doing anything else? She's like, I don't know, variety. And I was like, why? We're married. What would be variety? This works. Let's keep doing this until we fucking die. Because it's this weird relation, it's this weird kind of contract you get into with somebody, right? Where it's like, you're a total stranger, but from now on, whenever I put my weenie someplace, it will be you. For the rest of my life, you know? And then you get into these weird, quiet moments with each other where we're trying, you know, we're all human beings, we try to be civilized and act in society in proper ways and shit. But then when we get alone in the room with our clothes off, we turn into absolute children where it's like, pee all over me. And thank God you always have somebody with a clear head in the relationship, usually my wife, who's just like, absolutely not. And I'm like, all right, we'll save that for 20 years then. She's smart to back pocket some shit. That way, you know, if I start growing tired of her antics, she'll be like, but wait a second. I'm like, holy shit, this is new. Anyway, that's how our marriage works. I implore you to take it into your marriage.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey up there.
Good evening.
How are you, man? You look like you're dressed like dude in the second row. 1, 2, dude in the third row. That dude is your fucking doppelganger, right? Yes, you are. There he is. Isn't that weird? Nudgy, is that his doppelganger? Yes. What's up, evil twin?
Brief question, 2 parts with a why. Favorite comic book hero, and what underwear does he wear, and why?
Favorite comic book hero is Batman. What underwear does he wear? Is that the same question? What underwear?
Yes, what underwear does Batman wear in your world?
Black on the outside, apparently. I would say that they're. Do I have to pick a brand?
It's your answer.
Guy LaRoche, that's what I wear. I don't know if it's a Fat Man brand of underwear, but it's only sold in Fat Man stores. Fat Man's close to Batman, hence. What was the other one?
That was it.
Awesome, man. Come sit next to this fucking dude, man. Nudgy, give him your seat. That'd be awesome just to look at you guys all night and shit and be like, from 2 different parts of Minnesota, they've come together to start the end of the world. It already started? You started without him? Alright, I feel it. Sometimes you can't wait for this motherfucker. Yes. Hey, man. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very, very well.
Quick question.
Yes.
How did you meet Ken Bloom to take over QuickStopEntertainment.com?
Ken, I believe, interviewed me for IGN, and I liked him a lot. And I said, hey man, do you want to leave IGN and come at the point, it was Movie Poop Shoot, we were going to turn it into Quick Stop Entertainment. And he was like, yeah, totally. So he came in to kind of run the site, but then, more importantly, later on, when we started the Smodcast, the first 2 Smodcasts, me and Mosier recorded them, then we mixed all that music underneath them. And it took a long time. It took me 12 hours to put all that music up in the first Smodcast, because I was meticulous, and probably way too meticulous. So after I did 1 or 2 of the first ones, a pattern emerges in my relationship with Scott Mosier that only in the last 5 years has he been able to catch and correct, which is, let's do something. And he's like, all right. And then I'm like, I'm gonna be over there. And then he's left doing the something. So we would record this podcast, And then I'd be like, all right, we got to put under the music. We'll put all the music under it. And he's like, okay. And I was like, all right, you do that? And he's like, well, yeah, all right. And then 5 in, he was like, dude, I'm not going to like Smodcast anymore if I have to keep putting the music under it. He's going, that's work, and it's becoming work. And I was like, you know what, you're right, we shouldn't be doing it. So I contacted Ken. I said, dude, you've got a massive music library. Ken has tons and tons of digital music files, like big towers and shit. I was like, how about we just toss you to Smodcast and you fucking put shit underneath? So he's like, I'll give it a shot. And it's like, it was something he was born to do. You know, it's just so good. He's so brilliant at mixing those songs under, and they always kind of editorialize on the comments, on the content, what we're talking about. Great guy, I love him to death.
Okay, and do you consider Quick Stop Entertainment to be the ugly redhead stepchild to viewskew.com?
No, that would be Movies Askew, was the ugly redheaded stepchild. Quick Stop Entertainment, no, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, it's the home of Smodcast. That's how I think of it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Don't that wasn't even good. I mean, good question, terrible answer. Where'd the mic go? Oh, there you go.
Oh, we're already here.
Hi.
That was fast.
What do you mean? Explain. Yeah. Look at you. Are you wearing fucking hooker boots? Are they hooker sneakers? I did. I mean, I can't help it.
We have hooker sneakers. They're new today for you. Just want to let you know that, of course, I'm ready people in here, movies. We have all the in-action figures, which we get made fun about quite often. And lastly, I read all the books.
Who makes fun of you? Does he really just be like this? I'm not going to fuck you if you keep making fun of me. I'm going to fuck the other guy who apparently fucks like a stallion.
Okay, well then I just want to say real quick. Even my boring ass life,
Yes.
you know, it was very well titled.
Yes.
But really, to get to my question, it's regards to Chasing Amy.
Yes.
I know you mentioned before that you wanted to get some homosexual content just so other people can kind of relate. But where did you come up with the concepts of all the different deviancies that come up with Chasing Amy?
Well, like, give me an example. What's a sexual deviancy?
Wanting to have sexual relations with your best friend and your girlfriend, or
I was just urging her to do the same thing. That's not deviant. That's smart. Seriously, it's smart, man. This is how I imagine the threesome would go, because I've never had one. I imagine at the end of it, the couple probably bonds tighter than they've ever been because you come close to the precipice. Something strange enters into the relationship, and one of you goes into lockdown mode, or both of you goes into lockdown mode. And what seems like a cool idea is always kind of like, well, that was stupid and awkward. And then you wind up being tighter because of it. So I don't think that's deviant. I think that's a way to actually, oddly enough, improve a relationship.
Okay, well then what was the other thing that they called her in the movie where she...
Finger cuffs!
Finger cuffs,
Well, that's a different kind of threesome. That's 2 dudes, right?
Yes.
That's doing the barbecue spit. Now that is an act that I would imagine, that is a threesome that's far more repellent to most people because the idea that there's more than one person being penetrated involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People, Americans particularly, have real penetration issues. That's why we love lesbians, because we're like, oh, it's so awesome to eat pussy. And guys are like, what about us? I'm like, you fucking faggots! They just don't like the idea that there's penetration. But with lesbians, they don't think there's penetration, even though there is. But since there's no dick going in there, everyone puts it. So a man, MMF, that's what they call it, threesome? You knew, it's a test. You dirty bit. Those, I think most people, that's not what most people think of when they think of threesome. Now, we used it in that movie because at that age, when I was 26 when I wrote it, that was the most horrifying thing I could think of. You know, like being in a three-way with your girlfriend. Which is so, like now I look at it and I go, that's so cute. The little fat kid was so worried back then. But it's not so much that, it's like you grow up and you learn shit, you know, everything, you get so tight about everything when you're younger, particularly when you're in your 20s. I was such a, not one of those angry young youth guys, but angry young man guys, but I was always so like, must cover this. I spent so much, I had wasted years of my life arguing with people online. Like really, if I put the time together that I spent online trying to correct people, not change their opinions about what I've done, but correct them about misconceptions about what I've done. or correct their errant information or factually inaccurate information about what I do. Collectively, there has to be at least 2 years of my life that went into that. I'm so ashamed of that right now. You know why? Because I discovered weed. All that time I could have been getting high, I wouldn't have given a shit, man. I'm like, what they write? That's so funny. Did you read this? No, but instead, back in the day, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm ruined. What if somebody else reads this? They'll know I'm a fraud. And now I'm just like, it's your opinion. But anyway, where were we? I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent.
I think you kind of explained it, like where it came from. Was there anywhere else that
It came from fear. It came from fear, from panic of like, ooh, that would be, what if I was in that world? What if I was a choice that came down the pike or something like that? Also, it went in the way of like when I was writing the story, which came from kind of from reality. I mean, Joey and I didn't have that exact relationship. But Joey was far more experienced than I was at that age, and it fucked with my suburban head, my suburban male head. And that movie was about this thing that guys didn't really talk about before, and they don't even really talk about it since, unless they talk about chasing Amy sometimes, male sexual insecurity. When you feel like your partner knows more than you. Traditionally, in society, we're bred for that role of like, you're the man, you're the aggressor, you're experienced, and you're the guy, and take her hand, and hold her, and blah, 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 and all that shit. And it fucks with your head when you meet somebody who's just like, no, I will lead you because you clearly know nothing, fat retard, and stuff like that. And you know, it freaks you out and shit. And when I was 26, it really freaked me out. And that's why I wrote Chasing Amy. And now I look at Chasing Amy and I'm like, wow, they're all such dicks. Like, this was such an easy scenario. I couldn't understand why it all fell apart for them. They were such great people. You know? So if I was writing it now, it wouldn't have ended the way it did. He would have worked shit out, because he was like, fuck, she's a total whore. I want to be with her my whole life. So at the time, it was that. It came from that place. I was so that guy. I was the dude that was just like, you know, how many guys did you fuck? Oh, really? That's a lot. Why'd you fuck them all? Did you like them all? Did you love them all? Did you let them fuck you at the end? You know, that kind of shit. I'm sure many a woman in this room has been at the receiving end of that conversation many, many times in their life. I was totally one of those guys that made Chasing Amy and stop being one of those guys. I was able to step outside of myself and be like, ew, what a horrible way to live. Back then, I was just like, I want somebody who doesn't have a sexual past that I have to be worried about. After Chasing Amy, I was like, all I want to do is fuck total whores. I want to be with women with tons of experience. Like, why the fuck would I want to be with nascent neophytes who are just like, I don't know where it goes and shit like that, just so I can be like, well, at least they never fucked anybody else. And then I teach them how to fuck badly? Fuck that. I discovered that I wanted to be with somebody who'd been around the block and shit like that and fucking done some shit and had their head on straight and just a total whore, and that's why I married my wife. No. So anyway, that's what Chasing Amy taught me, but that really wasn't your question, was it? Oh, let's get back to the deviants. So that was one deviance. What's another deviant?
Oh God, I think those are the two major deviances that come to my mind when it comes to that movie.
Fisting!
Oh, okay, we're fisting.
Fisting. Yeah, I didn't even get that. Fisting just seems fucking weird and bad to me. It's like ATM, like when I first found ATM online, I was just like, you know, I've been way into porn, I think I talked about it, no, maybe that was Detroit. I've been watching, you know, porn for years and years and years, and then I fell out of it because I got involved making movies and shit, and then the internet rose, and suddenly porn was free. And after a few years, I kind of checked back in on the world of porn and whatnot. And all of a sudden, there was ATM, a rash of ATM sites, and I was just like, wow, banking's really huge. And then when I looked at a site and found out what it was and watched the clip, and I was just like, oh man, this ain't real. Like, there's no way this is real. Like, I had seen a clip 2 years prior to that about Brazilian fart porn. There was just like some beautiful brown-skinned chicks leaning over, and one chick behind another chick, and she's holding her ass, and the other chick, you just hear the worst sound effect, just laid over the clip of like, and the chick who's behind the chick who presumably farted is going like this. And I was like, that is not real. There is nobody who derives that much sexual gratification from smelling the fart of somebody else. ATM, I think, falls in the same place. Can you imagine fucking like, you find someone goodly enough to be like, stick it in my shoe, do it. You know, that's like the fucking, it's still taboo. I mean, we all do, but still taboo. We still pretend it's taboo. So, you know, you find that one person who's like, yeah, fucking do it, man. Do the thing that nobody else lets you do. Do it wrong and shoot it right up, baby. And you're like, this is amazing. I'm gonna thank you by shoving my shitty dick in your mouth. That's so wrong. It should be like, ask to thank you. You know what I'm saying? Come on, ask to mouth. What a horrible thing to do. Somebody who's nice enough to let you fuck them. Ask to thank you, or ask to flowers. Or as it is in the Smith household, ask to very expensive jewelry. I don't know, man. ATM just seems weird. ATM just seems like a culture, like, the internet has been wonderful for porn, but it's been bad because you get so bored so quickly because you can have access to, like, anything. Things that you've heard about and were repulsed by, and you're alone, you're like, oh, peep this out. Oh my God, chick's really fucking a horse, you know? Oh, I hate it. Oh, look how much she's taking. And I think people just get kind of inured, right? Like, you get so inured to it and shit. And now, like, with the proliferation of revenge porn sites, where it's just people sending their homemade porn in when they break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and let's be honest, it's generally guys sending it in. It's crazy. It's just like, now you have a window into, like, reality. All those porn movies before had lights and cameras and fucking makeup and shit like that. These are literally people just like you who one night stupidly were like, let's film it. And didn't have the good sense to destroy it the next morning, and then one of them went rogue, and now fucking, it's all over the internet, man. The night that she was like, stick it hard, into your parents' room and shit. That's horrible shit out there. But you just get so inured to it. It's just like, Like now I see it takes a very bizarre fucking out there sexual clip to unnerve me. I saw that Mr. Hands clip. The dude with the horse, have you ever seen that clip? He was in Seattle, there's a gentleman, there's a documentary about it, I think it's called Zoo, but go online, look up Mr. Hands. Mind it, or don't see it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Seriously, it's fucked up. And it's this dude who's like, video starts, and it's like something out of fucking Saw. You know, it's just like stark, dark, and quietly loud. You know what I'm saying? Like that loud white noise hum of like, and all you see is the back of a horse and a guy and another guy, his hands. And you hear the one guy from off camera go, go, and the horse rears up on its two back, what do you call them, paws, not legs? Do you call them paws? Ooh. Why not paws though, you know? Like somebody got fancy one day, it was just like, no, hooves. And every dog on the planet is like, why can't I have a hoof? So anyway, so the horse rears up, and then his 2 feet land on something unseen off camera above. Presumably some sort of very sturdy bar or a second level of the barn, or I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, he's like this. So the horse is kind of on his twos, on 2 backs. All of a sudden, this fucking naked dude backs up to the horse, skinny naked dude. I was so happy when I saw he was skinny. Because I was like, you'll never see a fat man doing that. Ladies, take note. Backs up to the horse, then his buddy runs in, grabs the horse's dick, which I don't know if you've ever seen an erect horse cock. I haven't until now. Holy shit. You know, I had issues with my dick before. Holy shit. I'm not lying. It's this big. It's from my shoulder to my fist, and it kind of looks like this, like a fat man's arm holding an apple. So anyway, homeboy runs in with a naked dude going like this, fucking backing up rather, and then homeboy is guiding the horse's dick with 2 hands. It takes 2 hands to guide this thing. And not like, you know, I use 2 hands on my boyfriend when I blow him. 2 hands, like. And he's guiding it. Trying to guide it. And the horse is going like this, trying to maintain its balance. And the intrepid fellow who's like this, I don't know what he was fucking thinking. My man who's guiding it finds the purchase. All his work pays off, and suddenly all the struggle disappears, and I shit you not, it happens like this. It happens in a fucking blink of an eye, a heartbeat. All of a sudden that massive, wet, red thing dick is there, and then it is gone. And suddenly that horse is wearing that guy like a prophylactic. We're not even done. So, dude's lodged in there. Trigger just way fucking balls deep. I don't know how the motherfucker who took him didn't just split in two. Somehow he managed to take it. I mean, I guess that's part of the thrill, right? Like if you're that far, you want it. So when it's in, I guess you're happy. But this time we might have went too far. Now, there's a story, well, let me finish the story about the video before I give you the sad truth. It doesn't last very long, and after about maybe 10 seconds of the horse literally being inside this dude, the horse falls out of the dude in a violent way, blowing nastiness everywhere. And all you hear, just like this, quiet, is the following. He came. And he's talking about the fucking horse. Bent my mind. I saw that clip. I was so like, no, we can't be that bored as a culture that it's come to this. Like, are you serious, man? Is Lost not enough for you? I know The Sopranos is gone, but Jesus Christ, dude. There are better things to do than fucking accept a horse. Now, the dude, they called him Mr. Hands, and apparently he did it a bunch. And he eventually died from his wounds from fucking horses. But the clip that they show online, they tell you this wasn't that clip, that happened later on. I say bullshit. I think it happened in that clip, but I think nobody wants to say it because once you acknowledge that he died in that clip is a snuff film, becomes illegal. And we all like watching it so much, nobody wants it to go away. So it was just like, yeah, he died later on. We're getting fucked by that horse. But you know, but he did. Apparently there were multiple tapes of him doing it and shit like that. He tried it quite often, but he sustained injuries, I think, from that session. I have nothing documenting that. It's just a hunch I got. I felt horses too, and that's just a hunch I got. That the dude, literally, that's the tip. We saw it because the way that this thing, I don't care if it was a horse or a Persian missile or a fucking tree trunk or cotton candy. The way it rammed into this dude, straight up this dude, nobody could survive that. I mean, they wouldn't die instantly, but like, it was just, you know, I mean, granted, look, I say that as a dude with a very small dick. But this is beyond like big dick, small dick. This is like inhuman. You can't take this. You shouldn't. You could. You shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Anything's possible. It's like my mother would say, can't means won't. Well, Mom, I won't take this. That was one of those jokes I wish my mother was here for. She would have thought I really wanted to. It's not like to make my mom laugh because she's so proper and shit. Like, it bugs her that I do this. It bugs her no end because she's like, every time you go on that stage, people think I raised you with a potty mouth. And here's me telling you she did. My mother's one of these broads that's just like, I hope they go to HE double hockey sticks. You know? I was like, what's that? She'd be like, hell. So anyway, but are we done with that?
There was one just last very important thing.
Okay.
Can you sign my movie hat? Please, 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 please. To skip school tonight to come here. It's very important, please.
Turn it.
All right, never mind.
Yeah.
Rachel, R-A-C-H-E-L, it's in the Bible. That story about the horse, it's in the Bible. Thank you. Okay, wait, we were here and then we go what to here? Did I do boom, boom, boom? This way. It's funny, they explained the pattern to me before I started, and I literally have to remind myself I was like this. I'm so fucking dumb. How are you?
Hey, what's up?
Very good. No, nothing's up, nothing. I'm really paying attention to it.
Oh, could you do me one quick favor before I ask my question? Could
Okay.
you embarrass the female I came with, Danny, right there? Stand up.
Hi. Why am I embarrassing?
She didn't want to answer a question. She didn't want to ask a question.
Are you asking by proxy?
No, I'm asking my own question.
Well, ask her. Is that your lady?
No.
Fuck your question, dude. I think I can bring it home for you tonight. I think you and I together can get this done. You and I, we're gonna fucking Cyrano the fuck out of this girl.
You know, I asked her to come here to cheer her up. She broke up with her boyfriend last week.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
I'm 39. Benefit from my years of experience. When a woman who has broken up with a dude says, I need to be cheered up at a show, that is essentially her saying, now's your time. Take what you left behind. Is he your buddy? Is he your buddy? No, dude. Is he your friend? Is he here? Should we be quiet? Should we talk in code?
No,
He's not here? Is that him behind me? There's a dude coming up behind me. Look out! But I didn't want to say it in case he did punch her in the head. I would have fucked up to see. People were just like, what's the weirdest thing that happened to you at Q&A? It's like, this one dude was talking about fucking this chick's lady and a dude punched him in the head with a beer. I saw the weirdest thing that ever happened to me at Q&A until that happened, because that hasn't happened yet. The weirdest thing that ever happened was in Edmonton doing a Q&A. All of them. And there was a kid got up to ask a question. Now, it wasn't like this where you all get to sit down. They were lined up and shit, but it wasn't obnoxious. It was lined like 20 deep per side. So this kid had been waiting in line a few minutes. He gets up to the mic. He goes, it was amazing. He goes like this. Hey. I was like, hey man, how are you? What's up? And he was just like, it's cool. And I was like, are you alright? And he's just like, I'm just a little nervous. And I was like, don't be, man. Don't, we're all friends here. It's all fucking good. And he was just like, the quick stop in Clerks, did you have to build that? And I was just like, what? Are you fucking dumb? No, dude. That quick stop. You wouldn't build a set like that for a fucking 28 grand movie. I mean, what are you thinking? And I start telling him the story, and the dude is standing there. And the dude goes, dude literally fell down! Passed out at the mic! Now, he didn't hit the floor like I did. That's where the story gets cool. I'm watching this dude go down. He's literally like this. Passing out at the mic. I've never seen anyone paint in my life, so it was amazing. There is a pregnant woman sitting 2 chairs ahead of her with her boyfriend, and there's another guy, just a dude in line next to them. He's single, he ain't pregnant. As this motherfucker's going down to the ground, fainting, these 3, like ninjas, weren't friends with this dude, had no investment in whatsoever. Saw him going down, and just flew to his aid like angels. And literally cushioned his fall. They fucking caught the guy. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw in my life. 3 disparate people with no connection to this guy. They were all 10 feet away from him. It was like watching the birth of the Justice League. But it was Canada, so it was really Alpha Flight. I'm pretty sure the little dude was gay. But it was weird, man. It was weird. I'd never seen someone pass out in front of me like that, particularly right in the crowd and shit. And then they took him out, and that was that. We never got to finish the question. Anyway. Well, how do you want me to embarrass her? And why'd you sit down? Get up. Yes. What's under your shirt? Come up to the mic, man. I gotta talk to you. How long were you going out with that other guy?
2.5 years.
And what'd you guys break up for? He was trying to give you a threesome, right? Why'd you break up?
Mutual agreement.
Oh my God, right? So you're not unhappy. You just want to suck the fucking cock off this guy, right? I mean, what better way to say fuck you to your ex than by like fucking wall? Nothing will hurt him more than that. You know, if he knows that you're doing the shit you did with him with somebody else, he's gonna double his efforts to try to get you back. And he can just be like, fuck you. Stomp him out. Meanwhile, at the same time, you're riding this guy like there's no tomorrow. And every time, like fucking 10 years from now, you're like, remember that fat dude who made those movies who told us to fuck that night and we did? And now we're so happy, we have kids and we're both billionaires. I'm serious, man. Why wouldn't you fuck? Life is so short, man. So fucking short. There's a kid who worked on our movie. I never met him. He was a locations PA. Good dude named Johnny that everybody vouched for. 2 days after we wrapped, dude, like 20-something, dropped dead.
Ooh.
Dropped fucking dead, man. You don't know. You don't know when it's gonna happen. So my advice to you, stop listening to me sit up here, fucking blah, 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 my dick and my fucking wife, and I'm so fat, look how sweaty I am. Go fuck the shit out of each other. Obviously, you have a connection. You just came to the show together. You couldn't be in a better set of circumstances. You've been out of a relationship. You know you want him. And you know you fucking, the only reason you're here is because you're like, my God, I'm next. So just mind being around the bush, man. After the show, grab a drink, drink each other. I don't even have to watch, but if you felt like letting the guy I got nothing to do with the rest of the night, is all I'm saying. But that's my best advice. Anyway, ask me a question.
I was just wondering if you had, what was your favorite story about somebody who came to...
My favorite story is about when you came and heard tonight.
Get on it.
What are you, 21, you said?
your favorite story about somebody who auditioned and didn't make the part.
Fuck them. How old are you?
Yeah,
How old are you?
23.
Oh, so he's younger too. You know what they say about young dick? It don't quit. Yeah, I'll answer your question if you guys kiss. The same people I work with. We've done it a few times. There was one chick who auditioned for Jersey Girl, who to play a little girl. She was very young. Like Raquel, who played the part, was I think 7. Was she 7 or she was 9 pretending to be 7? This little girl was like 4 pretending to be 7. So we had this. Oh yeah, you run the camera on them and they fucking talk and shit. The casting director, Avie, was talking to her, and you can't be like, okay, so run the lines because you know they're fucking kids. So you just have conversations with them, see how alert they are, and see how quick they are, and how they answer and shit. And this little chick, the casting lady was going like, would you like to be in this movie? And she's like, yeah. She's like, why? And she's like, because they shoot it in Philadelphia. And she was like, oh, you like Philadelphia? She's like, it's a big city. And then she goes, and that's, you like the idea of a big city? She's going, they have alligators there. And me and Mosier died, brother. What a total fucking what a misnomer that was. I was like, really? Where'd you hear that? And Amy's going, alligator? She's like, alligator. So for years and years after Jersey Girl, me and Mosier every once in a while would be like, you know, alligator. She didn't get the part, but she was fucking cute. I do that to my dogs all the time. I just wrote on that script. So they hired her. I have no connection to her except Joey saw her at a party and was like, hey, and she was kind of a bitch to her. I was like, fuck Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, because Joey went up to her to be like, hey, I saw, they were both up for that part, Overnight Delivery, that fucking movie that I did a rewrite of. And Reese got the part, and, Joey was bummed, but as a consolation prize, she did have Chasing Amy. When she ran into Reese, we had some fucking details at some fucking young fucking Hollywood party that I got dragged to and shit. And I hate parties, but I liked fucking Joey, so I went with her. She told me to go. So we go there, and she saw Reese, and she was like, I should just say something. I should go over. So she did. She was like, Reese, I saw the movie, and I thought you were really funny in it. And Reese goes, and that was it. And I was like, what a bitch, man. Because that was a real classy move for her to go over and be like, you were good in the part that I was once promised but did not get. And Reese didn't give her anything. So from that moment forward, I was like, fuck that jerk. And, I didn't work with her. So I can't say that, I turned her down or something. That was it. Boy, we went weird, quiet, sneeze. Coffee, I expected a tumbleweed to roll through. But yeah, that was the little alligator. That's the only one I can think of. You guys been good? Where do you guys live? How far from the theater?
She's living in Eden Prairie and I'm living in Minneapolis. So,
Oh, I thought everyone went ooh because it sounded so racist. I was like, right? Ooh, hey, buddy. Cool. Really? So an hour away? So you live here, you live in Eden Prairie. So that's closer here. Or is that farther? Who's farther away from here? Well, from where we are right now. Is that Minneapolis? I always confuse Minneapolis with Minnesota. I'll admit it. I say it all the time. I'm like, wow, I'm going to Minnesota. The Minnesota Sound. And they're like, that's Minneapolis. Like, oh, yeah, that too. So which one's closer to the theater? You or him driving home?
I think we're about the same.
Oh, really? Well, I was going to say there's a Crown right across the street, right? Crown Plaza.
I have to drive her home and then drive back to my place.
I'll tell you what, man. Here. Oh, shit. I can't do better than this, really. I've never done this before in my life. They gave me a wonderful suite to stay in here tonight. An absolutely wonderful suite with all the amenities. I took a shower in myself, took a shit there. Beautiful place. 3 rooms, and they were goodly enough to stock it full of yoo-hoo and candy. It is a stoner's party back in my room. So, what I don't need all those rooms, I'm just by myself, and all I'm going to do is look at pictures of my wife naked on my computer and jerk off. So, I need a very small room to do that. So, if you guys promise to fuck, I'll give you my suite, and I will take a smaller room. What do you think? That's about as generous as it gets. So, dude, if she says no, she really don't want to fuck you. Because I don't know, a woman alive says no to a hotel room, classy one with room service. Hey.
I don't know, put the microphone to her mouth.
That's not what you gotta put.
That's the idea.
What you think, my friend? What's your name, ma'am?
I'm Annie.
What'd you think, Annie?
I would go for that.
Fuck, now I gotta get another room. But it's worth it. It's worth it to know that you two got together and 10 years from now, you guys will be telling a story. Remember that time we slept in that fat director's room? And he got another room and we found his underwear and that shit stains. Dude don't know how to wipe properly, but he got us together. Yeah, totally. Stick around after the show.
Awesome.
I'm not gonna watch it all, but we do need proof that it happened. I think I'm gonna go Semitic with it and request a sheet with a hole in it. How do I prove it? Because you guys can get in the room and be like, fuck him, woo! And not fuck each other, which is the point of me giving you my room.
Get her pregnant.
And none of this immaculate conception shit. It's gotta be his wife. That's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you too. Dude, you owe me. I can pre-monogamous. I have the iPhone that takes video. Give it to you guys.
I got one.
Give me proof later on. The whole night will be interrupted by calls by Muse going, How do we prove it? Glass table, yeah. No, there's no glass table, there's a wood table. I'd lay under it and be like, what's happening up there? Describe it for me. Is your dick out yet?
Does that room have a balcony?
It does not, but you don't need one. It's a really nice room. And what the fuck do you need a balcony for? Oh, we're gonna fuck in a balcony. Fuck in a bed like a normal person. Like really? You're like the first time you're like, let's do it on a balcony. She'd be like, he's creepy. I never want to do it with him. You gotta play it safe, dude. Like in a bed with sheets, lights off, fucking, you know, just make sure she feels very comfortable so you get to do it again. If you go right to the balcony, you're fucked. You'd be like, let's go outside and fuck. She's like, good butt. Right on. So we'll figure out how to prove it later on. But yeah, look for me afterwards. You guys want to...
Give him an open wound.
That's when it's love. Alright, we'll take care of this later on. Congrats! I look forward to this. This is gonna be awesome. The chick who was just like, the first dude who was just like, you ever feel, how do you feel, all these people, blah, blah. Nothing. That is cool. I made two strangers fuck. That's boy. That is straight. I was rocking a little false dude. Alright, so we were here with the fuckers, and now we're up here. And there's nobody there. So oh, hey, you're up top. Look at you. You just spent everything you had on those seats, didn't you?
Hey, I'm poor working still. What do you expect?
I hear you. Why don't you come down, man? Fuck sitting up there. Come down here. Sit on the stage on the couch. You want to sit down here? You don't have to. Don't let him force you to do anything you want.
No, I'm not a fat lady.
Yeah, me too. I feel you.
Okay. Now, question is,
Yes.
how did you and Mosher get the gig to do the commentary for Roadhouse? You were in it.
We weren't.
Writing it? Nothing.
No, it had nothing to do with it. They, I guess they heard it. No, who was it? Columbia TriStar put out the DVD. It was an MGM movie, but Columbia TriStar had the video rights. They put out the DVD that we did the commentary track on. There was a fellow named Mike Stratford who worked over there, and he was just like, we can't get anybody to do a commentary track for Roadhouse. Do you want to do one? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I was like, Mo, do you want to do a commentary track for Roadhouse? He's like, we didn't make Roadhouse. We did. We went into it, and that was kind of the prototypical Smodcast, really. Like, that was kind of it. That was kind of the moment where I was like, that was fun. We should do that more often. But that's it. I didn't have anything to do with it. We just liked it. You know, it was a good, cheesy fucking TBS instant classic or whatever. TNT new classic.
Well, yeah, but it's like the male version of chick flick.
Very much so. Very much so.
I thought it suited you well.
It did. It's very much. It's a very gay movie. Like seriously, watch that movie viewing it through the prism of like they're all gay, and suddenly the movie makes a lot more sense.
not with Sam Elliott and Patrick
Well,
Swayze. No.
Sam Elliott's the only one who ain't playing a gay, because he's the one rocking like the double douche. But yeah, that was it. It was like just dopey happenstance that nobody was doing it, and they asked us, and we were like, yeah, totally. And then people seemed to like it. It was fun.
Thank you.
How are you? Where are you? Hey, man. I'm well. How are you?
First of all, I'd like to thank you from Minneapolis.
Okay.
Minnesota represent.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I just want to ask you about Zach and Mary. Is it true that one of the first drafts took place in St. Cloud?
Yes. Yes, it did.
And was it supposed to be shot here? Or?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Okay, so was it the douchebag Valenti, our governor, that didn't allow you to do it, or what?
We just didn't even pursue it that ardently because there was no real discount or rebate. Like that's what studios want now. There are a bunch of states that offer rebates if you shoot there. It's like essentially incentive plans. Come spend your millions here and you'll get back a big percentage. So New York's been doing it for a while. Right now Michigan has the best one. It's like, I think it's 45%. So of everything you spend in Michigan, you can get back at the end of the show. So naturally that's appetizing to any studio, any filmmaker. Whatsoever. Pittsburgh was offering a deeper discount than Minnesota was, so we were just like, all right, let's go to Pittsburgh instead. We'd worked in Pittsburgh before, we shot Dogma there, so we were like, let's go there because the studio wasn't going to approve our budget for out here because it was going to be like $3 million more.
Of all the places to have this place have to take place.
Yes.
Why St. Cloud?
Because I had gone to St. Cloud to do one of these. That night, when I went outside to get a cigarette, my beard and mustache froze. That had never happened before, and I grew up in cold climate. You know, we had weather in Jersey. This is the first time I went outside, literally outside for like not even 20 seconds, and all of a sudden I was like, there's a weight on my face. And I touched it, and everything was brittle. Fucking hard, and I was like, wow, this is the coldest fucking place I've ever been. And prior to that, Minneapolis had been the coldest place I've ever been. You guys beat your own record. Toronto's nothing, man. Like, I've never been any place colder in my life than rooftop in Minnesota in '95. We were shooting the opening sequence of Mallrats, which eventually we cut out of the movie altogether. They're on a rooftop and shit, and they think he's a terrorist. It's kind of dope. But we were on this rooftop in Minnesota, some school, I forget what the school was, but we were up there at 2 in the morning, and we were told, because they were announcing it on the radio, that it was the coldest night in Minnesota history in 50 years. And we were up on a fucking rooftop. Unfucking believable. And Claire Filani and Jeremy Lennon, they were the ones that figured prominently in the scene on the rooftop. And they were just breathing, you could see their breath, so we had to make them chew ice in 20-degree below weather so that we wouldn't see their breath on the tape. And they were both just so fucking miserable, and everyone was miserable. It was so fucking bad. And then we cut it out of the movie. So then that had been the coldest I've ever been until St. Cloud, and then my beard froze. I was like, this is fucking unbelievably cold. And that's where I was like, ooh, I'm gonna set Zach and Miri here, man. I'm gonna set a cold climate in Minnesota. Nobody, fucking, I haven't done a movie in Minnesota since '95, and nobody's expecting I'll set it in Minnesota, because usually I put shit in Jersey. So I did the first draft, and when the page ran in Entertainment Weekly, it was about St. Cloud. And then budgetarily, we were forced to go to Pittsburgh, which, look, I like Pittsburgh. It wasn't like, oh, we were forced, but originally it was meant to be here.
Well, hopefully you come back and shoot here sometime.
I would love to, man. Like I said, we had such a good time. I shot 2 movies here, kind of. One whole movie and one half movie. That became a recruitment film for the Jehovah's Witnesses. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, very sweaty, but very good. How are you?
Awesome. I also wanted to ask actually about Zach and Miri. I did want to say, however, as a young queer kid, I really appreciate Chasing Amy. So thank
What
you
do you
very
mean
much.
queer kid? You like pussy too? How old are you?
I'm 27.
Isn't pussy awesome?
Yes,
Anyway.
I'm actually engaged, so.
Are you engaged?
Yeah,
Where is she? She's home?
Yeah.
She's like, I hate that fucking
no.
breeder.
I'm in grad school, we're having more help with my mom, actually brought me.
Oh, I see.
More, so.
Right on, man. You're gonna get married. You're gonna tie your life to somebody else's. I worked with somebody on Zack and Mary first time I ever worked with this particular company. Way too comfortable. And her name is Diane, wonderful woman. But Diane has been married for 25 years to a woman, which is, rare in and of itself. It's the first woman she ever fucked. I was like, you are kidding me. You are so sweet. Sweet little lesbian. I thought that was amazing. I was like, you're kidding me. That was the only person. I was like, what about dude? She's like, no, never. I was like, she is the only person you've ever met with? She's like, yeah. And I was like, 25 years, man? Did you ever curious about anybody else? She's like, obviously not. She's pretty good. So, it's kind of cool. Good for you. When are you getting married?
After grad school.
After grad school. Right on.
But yeah, so I wanted to ask about Zack and Mary. I'm a big fan of knowing background stories. And I love Zack and Mary. That was absolutely awesome. And the first thing I thought about it after I saw it was I totally wanted to know some of the background, like what it was like to work with Tracy Lords and who talked who and to get Jay naked and what it was like to direct with porn stars, like actual porn stars.
Yeah.
And so anything you'd be willing to tell me else.
Trying to reach back. It was a really good shoot. Seth was awesome to be around. Tracy, the thing that probably most people would never expect of Tracy is like what an insane, dedicated, method professional she is. She takes it all very, very seriously and whatnot. And most people are just like, why would she? She's important, but she's an actress, man. She treats it real seriously. And she's good at it. Who was the other person? Muse. Muse didn't want, he wasn't supposed to show his dick. We were in pre-production, and I was just like, it'd be kind of cool, dude, if when you come out at the end, you're just fucking naked. And he was like, all right, I'll do it. But I was just like, I'm talking naked, dude. Like, we're gonna see your fucking dick. He's like, oh, my dick too? I was like, that is what naked usually is. He's just like, I don't know, dude, because he's engaged and shit at the time, and now he's married. But he's engaged, and he's just like, she might not like if I do that, and blah, 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 I was like, dude, you take your dick out all the time. Like, people for 5 minutes and you pull your fucking dick out. Why is this such a problem? He's like, yeah, but that's for a person at a time, not all the people who want to see it. I was like, all right, fair enough, the boys got me on that one. So I said, look, he owed me some cash. And I was like, look, I'll forgive the debt. And he's like, okay. So I was like, all right, man, rock it. And that was like, we put it toward the end of the show, and he was working his nerve up and stuff like that. And people would josh him about, you ready for the scene? And he was like, shut up. Then we finally get to the day of the scene. Now, mind you, I've seen Jason Muse's dick more than I've seen my own. That's by virtue of the fact that Muse is one of those people, quite like an infant, just likes to take it out and play with it. There was a time, he doesn't do it so much anymore, there's a time where he did it, and that time was pretty much everything up until this year. He's just a guy, he's that guy. I don't know if you've got a lot of guy friends, but if you've got a lot of guy friends, you hang out with guy friends, and you're not a girl, sooner or later somebody takes their dick out. It's so weird. Just like, what do you want me to do? Suck it, put it away. Like, it's a strange kind of thing. And with him, it's just, he does it just to fucking get a smile out of you. He'll do shit like I've been driving with Muse and whatnot, and he'd be like, man, it's really hot in here. What are you talking about? Look over, and his pants are around his ankle. So I look over, like, what are you doing? Oh, come on. He's like, ah. So I'm like, dude, you're that guy. And he's just like, yeah, but fuck, it's different now, because I'm gonna get married, and maybe everyone shouldn't see my dick. I was like, now you get a conscience? So he agreed to do it. I forgave his debt, and we show up that day, shoot the scene.
Bend over.
And it runs the way it is. You know, he's off camera in that room. At a certain point, we're over set, and on a cue, he comes out. Now, having seen Muse's dick as much as I have, I know exactly what to expect. He is quite like myself. All potato, no meat. Real Irish dinner. I don't know what's in the water back in Highlands, New Jersey, but both of us are cursed with fucking not very impressive dicks at all. Or so I thought. Because I'd seen Muse for years, like half-mast. Never saw him fucking full stock. Would have never had a reason to. Till we're shooting this flick, right? Comes out the fucking door. And you have in your head, like, I know what I'm gonna see. Muse has 2 long balls and a tiny mushroom head. Because he's like me, we don't have a neck. You know, it goes balls, hood. And the hood just sits on the balls like a thimble. And the balls look like that tomato you put pins into. I don't have a fruit basket, I have a sewing kit between my legs. So I know what to expect. Music come out the door, I'm gonna, fucking be like, there's his dick, that's funny. His little head. Muse comes out the door, and he is fucking swinging what I could only conclude is a pretty good-looking dick. Like, no dick I'd ever seen him swing before. Like, for a second, I was like, are you wearing Marky Mark's fucking prosthetic? But you don't say anything, right? You can't say anything to anybody, because what am I going to say to Mojo? Like, man, Muse's dick is huge, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it is. Into that sort of thing. So I didn't say anything, but I just marked it as like, Jesus Christ, all this time I thought me and Muse were in the same league, but look at this fucking fool, man. He's not even hard. My shit's like, it's just like boom, boom. I mean, it wasn't massive, but it was impressive to look at. So, I'll go about editing the movie. Later on, we'll go home, finish shooting, edit, don't think about it. Ben comes over to watch the movie. First time, never read the script, don't know anything about it. He's coming in completely fresh eyes. He watches the flick afterwards. I go in to talk to him. The first thing out of his mouth. Wait. Second thing out of his mouth. Second thing out of his mouth was, you know that Muse was 1 pump away from total liftoff, right? Something was up. He's like, yeah, because I've seen that dude's dick more than I've seen my own. His dick don't look like that, Kev. I said, I know, right? It's never looked like that. It was like kind of fucking my head a little bit, but I know that he was just like, right before he came in the room, he was just jerking off, and that's why. And I was like, were you spanking right before he came out? He's like, of course. He's like, he wanted to look as fucking big as possible, right? I'm not going to go out there with all cold and sucked up into my body. Stretch the shit out. I was going right before I went, I was tugging down. So I said, Ben watched the movie, and he goes, what did he say? And I said, well, the second thing he said about the flick was that you were 1 pump away from total liftoff. And Muse goes, tell fucking Affleck, that's me on the way down, not on the way up. But we got the dick, got it on camera, man, so happy. I mean, because now when I look back at my repertoire of films, it hasn't been about individual expression and telling the story of the little guy who's trying to find his way, or the confused individual, or the fucking nobody who's just trying to find their place in the world. all I made those movies for was to gradually take Jason Mewes' clothes off. Go back and watch them. First one, no shirt at one point. Next one, clothes keep coming down. Finally, but the last one, his dick's out. He's naked except for his fucking socks. And his pubes as well. No, that was Zach and Mary. Well, Clerks too. Yeah, the top. We thought that was close enough. And then I was like, nope, untie. Did you see Zach and Mary? Did you see how his pubes were shaved? Did any dude see how their pubes were shaved? How? Gay test. That was the first thing that Affleck said. He goes, did Mew shave his pubic hair into a fucking heart? I said, you were looking awfully closely, weren't you? He's like, I don't care, I've never seen that before. He had a fucking heart over his dick. He had a heart on. It's a bad pun name for me. Did we cover Zach and Mary enough? Is there more you want to know about?
So much more than I thought.
I figure, you're a lesbian, want to know about dicks. I feel sometimes I'm like Marlon Perkins for the lesbian community. Take you into the wilds of men. Alright, so you're here, you're down here, so then we're here. Hey!
Hello.
Hi! Wow, it's chicks galore, man. These are like sausage parties.
I, much like yourself, am a huge Battlestar Galactica fan.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you actually met the cast, and I was kind of wondering what your experience was with that and what you thought of the series finale.
Loved it. Loved the series finale. I was so sad to see it all end, but happy at the same time because it was great. The cast that I met, they're very cool. I mean, what are they going to be like? Hey, we hear you like us. Fuck you, fat guy! You're a fucking loser! And I'm like, whatever. But no, they were very nice to me and whatnot. The thing that I heard that blew my mind, as brilliant as that show was, and it was crime that it didn't win any Emmys, but then again, fuck it. Why give it a fucking useless award anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, that show is too beautiful. Why give it a useless award? It's not going to make it any better than it was. I mean, it's a nice thing to get a nod from your peers, but fuck them, obviously their peers are retarded. So do you really want to get honored by a bunch of your retarded peers? But then I heard that Glenn Larson, the producer, created Battlestar Galactica in the first place, the concept. They're now doing a big feature version at Universal with Ryan Singer directing, but it's not based on the show. So now there will be a fourth iteration of Battlestar Galactica. The first one back in the day, Galactica 80, when the Cylons came to Earth, which was terrible. It sounds a lot cooler than it was. Like, I remember that DVD came out 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, I loved it when the Cylons came to Earth. I haven't seen it in years. I gotta watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. I had the same experience with 30-something. For years I've been telling my wife, I was like, oh, 30-something. This show was amazing. It taught me everything I know about a relationship, and I was only fucking 14 at the time, but I studied this show, and I learned, and now I am a 30-something, and it was finally coming out on DVD, and it came out. I was like, let's fucking do it. We're gonna have a panini party, we're gonna make some fucking paninis, bring it down to the bed, we got a box of cereal, we eat that like popcorn and shit, you got wine, I got weed, we're gonna have a fucking 30-something party, man, and we're gonna fuck, because this show's romantic, that makes you wanna fuck. We get 20 minutes in the episode, and she's like, this is terrible. I was like, it is, let's not watch it. I remembered it so fondly, man. It was just bad. So, alright, so there's first Battlestar Galactica, Galactica 80 with the Cylons coming to Earth, then the one that we all know and love, the recent Battlestar Galactica, and now this fourth one that has nothing to do with any of them. It's yet another, let's do the story of Cylons killing a bunch of humans and then looking for a home world. Why would you bother after they just did 4 brilliant seasons of television? Where they had multiple hours to tell that story. You're gonna try to cram fucking another Battlestar Galactica in 2 hours? That just seems dopey to me. That would be alright, fucking, Barack Obama ran for president and won. I'm gonna run for president and win now. Why didn't I win? Fuck, you know. It's just like, dude, it doesn't always work like that, you know. That's a terrible analogy. Really bad. Thanks for calling me on it. It would be more akin to like, I don't even, fuck it, I don't have an analogy. It's just a bad idea. That's how bad an idea it is. I can't even think of a way to compare it to something.
Pepsi
Maybe the
Clear.
Holocaust. This is so stupid. Why would you do that? And Ryan Singer seems like a smart cookie, with the exception of that Superman Returns movie. Seems like a pretty smart, because that movie was fucking boring. Very boring. But I mean, why would you remake Battlestar Galactica? They just did it. They just did a bang up job. That would be like me going, you know what I'm gonna remake? No Country for Old Men. Like, but it was really good. I'm like, yeah, but I could do it too. It's just retarded. Don't do it. They should do something new. Like, look, these guys took Battlestar Galactica and turned it into something amazing. But let's be honest, it was a dopey concept. And they were able to retcon it into something really cool. And now these motherfuckers just want to retcon it back into pew, pew, pew. And it's just like, why? We just had like hours and hours of like thoughtful meditations on the war on terrorism, masked in sci-fi. And instead you just want to go back to pew, pew, pew? That's ridiculous to me. Why bother? Make up a new pew, pew, pew.
Did you have a favorite character from the show?
The new show or the
Yeah,
old show?
the new one.
I don't know, my wife asked me that the other day. She was like, who's your favorite character? And I was like, you fucking nerd. Who did I say? I was like, I don't know, I like the guy that plays Baltar. I don't like his character, but I like his performance quite a bit. I was a big fan of fucking Six, and she was like, oh, I love Chief. And I'm like, really? Fucking Chief? The surly Cylon? Who went off and created the Netherlands at the end of the show or something like that? Isn't that where he was like, I'm going up north? And like, he's responsible for like Nova Scotia or something like that. I don't know, I didn't quite understand that. But it's just like, she picked Chief, and I was just like, really? The kind of somewhat heavy-set guy that, interesting. I was like, really, I don't have to love me, she's just a fucking chubby chaser. As long as it's got a gut, she wants it. She don't like dick unless it has a fucking porch over it. I don't even think it was that funny. I was thinking of my wife hearing that and going like, you're such an asshole. but I'm not all about the new fucking idea for a movie, but I love that show. And was happy it ended though, because they ended it the way they wanted to.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Shoot.
First of all, I want to commend you for offering up your hotel room to foster young love, if you want to call it that.
I believe in it.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, it may be one night of young love, but it's going to be love.
Yeah, you don't see Woody fucking Allen doing that at his Q&As.
You don't see Woody Allen at Q&As, because he's just like, I like pussy. Why am I going to stand on stage where I can be hunting pussy?
Yeah, what am I going to come back to that? Goes without saying, huge fan.
Thank you, sir.
Also, really big fan of Zach Braff, and was getting a few pages into my boring ass life, and I see, you talking about doing something with Zach Braff. I was hoping you could, delve into that.
We were gonna, at one point, we were talking about doing Fletch together. When Harvey Weinstein made it clear that he wasn't gonna let Jason Lee play Fletch. He was like, why don't you start meeting with other people, because it's never gonna be the guy you like. And so I took a few meetings, one with Zach, who I liked a lot, and I liked Garden State. Was that the one? Garden State, right? How could I not remember that? That's so weird. I'm like, what's it called? Garden State?
Where are you from?
Don't ever tell anyone from New Jersey. They'll take my fucking license away. So we talked about it, but nothing. By the end of the dinner, he was just like, I don't know, man, that's a tough part to take on. I was like, dude, I hear you, man. But I wanted Jason Lee more than anything in the world. So that was it. That was our only. And then I ran it, and then we did a MySpace thing. We interviewed each other for like MySpace artists for Clerks too. But nice guy, totally nice guy. But I don't like hang out with him or work with him.
And one more not to bring down the mood or anything, but when George Carlin passed on, and how that
clap that George passed on. He's like when George Carlin passed on him. I was like, yeah, fuck him. He was like Hitler. When George died, yes.
How'd that affect you? I mean, obviously.
I'll tell you a true story. It's a very true story, and just happened recently, and I can't figure it out. I've spent the last year, as I kind of alluded to before, just smoking more weed than anybody's ever smoked on the planet ever. And I'm not like, hey man, I'm not like, hey man, it's cool being a waste toy, but in many ways I am saying that as well. During the course of that fucking year, one of the things that happened was I was always very in touch with my feminine side and always very in touch with my feelings. You can see it in the work, I'm very touchy-feely. There's many ticket-apart jokes, there's also a lot of, soul bearing and shit like that. So I've never had a problem being in touch with, my more the feminine side of me. That just sounds so weird. I'm just not aggro. I've never been aggro. I'm not an aggro person. I'm not one of these guys. If somebody says something about my lady, I'm like, wow, did you hear what he said? Kick his ass. I'm just not the dude that does that. I'm not the standard issue guy. I'm just more of a chick. And my wife will tell you it's fucking true because nothing. I forget where I was going with this. Why was I talking about this? George Carlin. So in the process of smoking all that weed, maybe it was something of a meltdown or a breakdown after Zach and Miri, because Zach and Miri we all thought was going to do 60 and wound up doing 31. Like, everyone kept saying, everybody, I'm not lying, dude, I'm not exaggerating. Everybody I came across in the course of the year we were making Zach and Miri was like, this is going to be the highest grossing movie you ever made, hands down, this movie's it, man. Because that's the closest I could get to working in the mainstream, because I just don't think like that. Like, basically, when I think about doing a comedy, like, I watch other people's comedies, and I love comedies, whether they're mine or not, I love comedy. But I watch other people's comedies, and I'm like, wow, man, they're so smart. They get up to the line, and they just hang there. And it makes them look risky or risque to most people, but it's not. They're still very safely on this side of the line. My problem is I'm like, where's the line? All right, fuck that donkey. Poop him in his face. Fuck that guy in the bathroom. It's just... So I become my own worst enemy and whatnot, and it kind of cuts you off from a larger audience, but whatever. Zach and Miri, though, I felt was the closest I could play the mainstream arena. That was me going like, this is as close as I could get, as comfortably close as I could get to doing something that's multiplex friendly. And that's saying something considering there was shit in people's faces in the movie and it was about porn. That's how stupid I am. My idea of multiplex friendly is Zach and Miri making a porno, But I love the movie, but it was really, really disappointing it didn't do what it did, and what it was supposed to do, what it could have done. That was crushing. But everyone was right, it did wind up being our highest grossing film by about 500 grand. So I was like, yeah, you're right. They said it'd be the highest grossing, they just didn't say it'd be by 500 grand. I thought they meant a couple $100 million or something like that. So I went into this weird funk where I was like, I can't go anywhere anymore. I'm fucking dead, man. I can't go on the internet because everyone who didn't like me on the internet, and there were a bunch, who, fucking sometimes you get a cool job and people just hate on you for that, or because they hate the movies you make, or they hate your personality, or they like somebody that you hate. For whatever reason, there are haters out there. And I got a bunch who don't like me or what I do. So the notion of having the Seth Rogen movie that didn't make at least 80 million. I mean, Seth was coming off Knocked Up that made over 100. He was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He wasn't the lead. That made a bunch of money. Then he was in Pineapple Express and Superbad. This dude was on a roll. And then he met Silent Bob. And Silent Bob said, no, I'm going to take you to Mallrats country, my friend. Here the grosses are low. So I was like, I can't go back to the internet. I can't, if I show my face on the internet, I'm gonna get, it's like going to school naked at this point. Like, it's open season. So I swore off the fucking internet, went away from the internet for 2 months. And I was like, how am I gonna fill my time? And I had just spent 4th of July, me and the wife were home in the house by ourselves. And don't know if it's the same for anybody else, but I was programmed, like a Pavlovian response to an empty house is a hard cock. Because when I lived with my parents, when they would go away, that was the time to get somebody over and fuck. So whenever, and I'm not in our house where we live now, it's me, my wife, the kid, and her parents live with us. And I love her parents, so it ain't a big deal. The house is big enough where we never have to run into them if we don't want to. It's very cool. It's not like, Raymond, where I'm like, I hate my in-laws. I love my in-laws. I like them more than my wife. Seriously, like, if they were like, we're leaving, I'm like, no, she'll go. You stay. So, God, what was I just talking about?
Weed!
Thank you. That's why I forgot. So 4th of July, we're home by ourselves and whatnot. Immediately, since you fuck all the time as a married couple anyway, your thoughts of mischievousness don't go to fucking when the house is empty. Not just fucking. You go everywhere. You're like, let's do everything bad. Because nobody's here to see it, You're still, I don't know about her, I'm still programmed from growing up in a house that I didn't own to appreciate when the house is empty so you can get up to some mischief. So she was just like, and we fucked many times. It was awesome. And by many times, I mean once. And then she was like, man, remember Trish gave us that weed like 3 Christmases ago? And I was like, yeah, man. Because I had talked about, like, while we were making Zack and Miri, Seth, throughout the movie, like, people would come up to me and say, like, Seth has mentioned wanting to get stoned with you and watch footage and shit. And I was like, I would love that, but not until I'm done making this movie, because that's the last thing in the world I need to add into the matrix as I'm trying to fucking put this all together. I wasn't a stoner. You can count on one hand the amount of times I've gotten stoned in the past 10 years at that point, maybe 2 hands. So I was like, well, I'm gonna wait till we're done. And when we were done, final day of shooting the set, I said, hey man, you want to come up to the editing room, get high, and watch the footage and shit? And he was like, I would fucking love to. So it came on. Seth's a huge stoner. Seth is the first practicing stoner I met, functioning stoner that I met, who I was like, I like the cut of his jib. So Seth comes over and we smoke a joint and we're having a great fucking time. We're watching footage, laughing, talking about the movie and shit like that. Like, I like that dude a lot, but it'd be wrong to say we became fucking best friends. We became, like, friendly. We're friends, but it's not, when we were done, I went back to my world, he went back to his and shit like that. And, fucking, he's got a boyfriend already. Judd's his boyfriend, so. Yeah, it'd be weird. It's like when Affleck works with other people. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I had such a great time. It was so cool. I haven't smoked weed in a while, and it was real more communal, and Seth has great weed. So I was just like, this is fantastic, and had a great time, but then never thought about it, because I was like, I'll go home and edit the movie and shit. So there we are in July, no movie to edit. I was kind of done. We were sitting around. The movie wasn't coming out until November. I was done with my side of the work. Nobody in the house, and she's like, remember that movie? I said, yeah, man. Like, do you want to get high? We've never gotten stoned together. And she was like, all right, let's fucking do it. So we rolled joints badly. Because at that point, I haven't fucking rolled joints like maybe once in my life and shit like that. Put it together. We both smoked a joint. And we had smoked a joint together once before. It was just so weird. We didn't talk about it, but we did. It's weird. I gotta call her now and be like, we did get stoned together, man. That would have changed everything. But anyway, so we get stoned, and then we do something I've never done when I was stoned, ever. We had sex. I love sex. I love coming. There's nothing better in the world than coming. I like to do it 3-4 times a day. Usually I'm by myself, whatever. I'm 39, I don't give a shit anymore. People are like, hey, jerking off? Yes, I proudly jerk off. That's my body. You know why? I see dogs do it all the time. Look at their balls, I'm like, yeah, me too, buddy. Taking the edge off and shit like that. And now that I'm a consummate stoner, I love to get high and jerk off. It's awesome. So anyway, first time we're getting high together and we fucking, it's amazing. I'm like, it's like somebody took peanut butter and found a way to make it even better. She, on the other hand, went a different way with it. Made her all paranoid and shit. She's more of a, when she likes to have wine, she likes to drink wine or something like that. So she was never going to be a stoner with me. I kind of took to it. Like, I was like, hey man, that's fun. I like the way I feel. And it makes me honest. It makes me super fucking affectionate. it basically just magnifies everything that's already there. And without bragging or sounding like a fucking full of myself dick, everything that's there is pretty good. So it's not like, not good and like I'm sexy, but just I'm a good guy. So you magnify that, you get an even better guy. You know? Some people, they're real dicks. You magnify that, they're huge dicks. Drugs work on me differently. Fucking weed turns me into an even sweeter guy. Is that possible? Yes! I've seen it happen. It's amazing. And I can talk to anybody. I'm like one of these people, like you see me up on a stage and shit like that. I'm like blah, blah, blah for 3 hours and it's very easy to do and we connect and it's fun. Get me in a room with 5 people. I become this guy. I'm painfully fucking quiet and shy because I'm so afraid to like talk about my work because it sounds braggy, you know, so I never want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about myself because I spend so much time doing that on the stage and shit like that. So I just kind of clam up. Like for years, my wife was like, my friends just think you're an idiot. Like a mute idiot because you never say anything. You clam around. I was like, well, they're your friends. I don't want to interfere. She's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, that was ridiculous. Weed, man, just made me like, hey, how are you, Trish? Let's talk for the first time in 15 years, you know. So it just washed over me in such a great way. And fuck anybody that's just like, oh, what a burnout. Weed's a waste of your time, can't get anything done. I have been more profoundly creative in the last fucking year than I have been my entire life. The shit I'm writing is fantastic. Granted, I read it stoned. But it's amazing. Makes sense when I'm stoned. That's my favorite pastime now. I like to write while I'm stoned and the next morning read what the other guy wrote. It's fantastic. I've been writing this Batman miniseries, The Widening Gyre, right? I wrote it all stoned. It is hands down the best comic book work I've ever done in my life. And I've done some. And some people don't like the shit I've done, but some people really, really like it. It's better than that. It is like fucking next level shit for me. I'm not saying it's better than anybody who's ever done Batman, but for me, it's an absolute personal best and shit. And my favorite aspect of writing it was I would get totally blitzed, write, and the next morning read what the other guy wrote, and it would be like reading a fresh comic book. You know, it's just like, this is amazing, you know? Like, and for a while I was like, I can't be writing this. I guarantee you the dogs are doing it while I'm asleep. Pass out on the keyboard and the dogs are just like, then Batman reveals that, you know. I love doing that. So anyway, so for the last year, I've been like I went and it slowly just moved into permanence, to a state of permanence. Because first I was like, yeah, I'll smoke like a joint every other day, maybe we'll fool around or something like that at night. And then it would be like, oh, you know, look, I can smoke every night. Once I get my work done around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, have a nice joint, just fucking unwind, relax and shit. Play video games with the kid. Fuck the wife. Never get the two mixed up. You gotta be careful when you're doing drugs. Wait, what was I just talking about? Take me back.
George Carlin. July.
The guy goes, you were talking about pedophilia. Yeah, well, yeah, that's not pedophilia. That is me saying, don't fuck your kid. If anything, that's anti-pedophilia. You know? Put me on TV. I'll be like, hey, this is Kevin Smith from Clerks. Don't fuck your kid. Brought to you by the Don't Fuck Your Kid Idiot organization. So I'm smoking lots of weed and I go from like, I'll just smoke 5, 7 o'clock at night to like, what am I waiting for? Like literally, I got nothing to do for weeks at a time. My job is such that like you live it for 6 months hardcore straight, 20 hours a day. Literally. I sleep in production 4 hours, no more than 4 hours a day. And I'm not saying feel sorry for me, that's just how into it you are. But when it's done, I got nothing but downtime because I don't have a normal job. I don't have a 9 to 5 and shit like that where I gotta go to it every day. My job is done in concentrated bursts, so when I'm done with those bursts, like I'll literally sit around my house on my bed with my wife sitting on the couch, reading her book, I'm watching TV, and we spend all that time together. I spend an inordinate amount of time with my wife when I'm not working. So, there, don't clap. I mean, it's cool, but ain't nothing to be proud of. It is what it is. But thank you, I appreciate it. My wife would be like, yeah, that's clap. So So I'm like sitting around all day long, waiting until 7 o'clock to get stoned, and I'm like, why bother? So I start getting stoned at noon. And then I'm like, this is fun, why am I posing? And I start getting high the moment I wake up. So over the course, I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it at all. I'm not saying like, check me out, I'm a drug dealer. But I'm not ashamed of it. I'm one of these people, I'm a convert now, where I'm just like, weed is not a drug. It grows everywhere for free. God wants us to smoke it. Now, for me, it had a very positive effect. On others, it may not have the same effect. And to be fair, before you go turn your, before you do what I did, go build an empire. Make 10 movies. Work for 15 years, and then get hooked on weed and smoke it all the way. Slowly let it go, man. So I've been doing that for like the last year, and it tends to make me even more emotional than I ever was. So I will just lapse into weird crime jags over things that move me. And the things that move me are not like, oh my God, I saw an old couple holding hands. It's shit like, during that whole time when I was getting stoned, I would go down to my office to do it. There's a library, and I used to be a library. I took it over, became the editing room. Now it's just the office. So I go down there, smoke weed, and watch Wayne Gretzky videos on YouTube. Something happened to me. I'm still trying to figure it out, and it might take me a few years, but it's been strange. I'm pretty sure I had a nervous breakdown, but Wayne Gretzky saved me. It is the most bizarre thing in the world. I've always been a New Jersey Devils fan. I know who Wayne Gretzky is. I know what he's done, who he is and what he means to hockey, but I've never been an ardent follower, nor do I follow the Oilers or anything like that. Over the course of me getting stoned, for some reason, Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers came to represent so much to me that it is almost embarrassing at this stage. I'm not Canadian. I'm not from Edmonton. I wish I was Canadian, I'm not. I'm not from that region. I wasn't even paying attention to hockey in 1984 when the Edmonton Oilers won their first Stanley Cup, thus kickstarting the greatest dynasty hockey's ever known. But now I can quote you chapter and fucking verse about Wayne Gretzky in a way that I never could have done a year ago, because all I did for the last 6 months was smoke while I had to make that movie. Prior to making that movie, was smoke weed and watch Wayne Gretzky videos. It was amazing, man. And Wayne Gretzky came to be my God. Like, all of a sudden I was like, yeah, Christianity's nice, but Wayne Gretzky is doing something for me right now. Like, seriously, because that's what faith is. Faith is about finding that thing, that untouchable, unknowable thing, that when all your chips are down, you're putting your faith in that. You're just going like, you know what? Be my strength. And alcoholics will tell you it's anything. It's God, it's fucking a turnip if you believe it, it's Yoda if that's what you believe. But it's just that thing that you cling to in a moment of need. In that moment, I can't tell you why, in terms of not because I won't share it. I don't know why. I was a drowning man. I was so lost, and so I was growing. It was growing pains. Like, remember I talked about at the beginning of the show, like, I can't write those movies anymore? That was a whole corridor where I was realizing that, and it was devastating. Because that's like somebody, you know how they say like beautiful women and athletes die twice? So do people that make Clerks. Because like one day you die, you realize you can't be that person anymore, because it's just not there. You're still the same person you were, but I'm not surrounded by the same influences as I was, and there is no desperation. I'm not hungry, I'm very overly satisfied. So it's just not quite the same feeling anymore. I forget what the fuck I was talking about. Oh, Edmonton Oilers. So anyway, so God wasn't doing it for me anymore. I mean, look, I love God, I believe in God. I'm not a person that shoves religion down your throat. I believe in God, it works for me. I know not everybody does. And believe me, there are moments where I'm just like, I'm way too smart for this God nonsense. But I fall back on, the old chestnut. It costs me nothing to have faith, so fuck it. But God didn't do for me what Wayne Gretzky did for me a few months ago. Wayne Gretzky, all via YouTube, spoke to me somehow. And not to me like, Kev, stop this. But for some reason, Wayne Gretzky and his life and his accomplishments took on, like, I'm still trying to figure out why it means so much to me. I don't know why. It's inexplicable, it's corny, but it saved my life. It really did. At that moment in time, it was like, for some reason, the Edmonton Oilers represented everything that I needed them to be, and where I stuck my faith, and it just got me over a huge bump. So it's probably because I was way too stoned. But whatever it was, it got me through it. So watching Gretzky videos, man, you got a guy, I don't know anything about Wayne Gretzky, because I know a lot. Wayne Gretzky, right? Dude is 4 years old when he scores his first fucking goal between his grandmother's legs in her Barca lounger. From a young age, this kid was wanting to play hockey, and his father built a backyard rink simply by putting they might do it here, they don't do it in Jersey, but you put a sprinkler out there during the winter and just let it go all night, and boom, you got backyard rink. Wayne Gretzky's dad did that for him because Wayne loved hockey, Lil Wayne, but he hated Walter, his dad, who I might love more than Wayne. Walter would be like, look, I don't want to sit outside a public rink and wait in the cold and shit. I'm going to build a rink at the house, sit in my kitchen, Wayne could play, and I could see him through the window and shit. Then trained his kid to play hockey. And he didn't train him like, you're going to learn this shit. The kid loved it, so it was easy as hell. And he taught his kid the most important lesson in life, which I've now stolen and taken and used in my own life. Don't go where the puck was. Go where the puck's going to be. And I was like, what a beautiful, simple philosophy that is. That is true of everything in life. Don't go where the puck was. Go where the fucking puck's going to be, you fat idiot. Not you, me. I just didn't want you to think I was talking about me. And I'm just like, man, that makes so much sense. And suddenly this dude raising his son to play hockey, teaching him everything he knew about it and shit. He tells stories like you see these documentaries about him because he's one of the most famous sports figures on the planet. So there's tons of, video of him, documentaries and shit. And there's one where his dad, Walter Gretzky, is talking about young Wayne. And he's going, the year that he scored something ridiculous, 389 points or something like that. And obviously I don't know everything about Gretzky. But he scored a shit ton of, an obscene amount of points in his last year, I think, in mites, in junior hockey, junior mites, or whatever. When he was a kid, when he was playing with the Nadrowski Steelers. So the dude, first year he played, he had 1 point, 1 goal. His last year in that league, he had 389, something ridiculous, where people were like, this is insane, he's a child, how can he do this shit? So his dad's telling the story, he's going like, I remember this time, I gotta do water, I'm gonna do Walter. So I remember this time when Wayne was in the kitchen, and before, he'd go to all the games, he'd lay his equipment out like that, and he'd make sure he'd tape up and get ready for the game, because he's a hard player. That's what they talk about up there, hard. It's all about hard. So Wayne says to me, he says, Dad, and I says, yeah, and he says, there's a boy on the team, little boy who hasn't scored a goal all year. Tonight I'm gonna help him score a goal. And he did. That boy scored 2 goals that night. And I'm watching this, I start weeping. I am moved to fucking tears because I'm like, I'm an American. The American version of that story is, Dad, there's a kid on the team who hasn't scored 2 goals all year. Me and the boys are gonna beat him with soap until he learns to play better. And if he doesn't, old Billy Russell said he'd finger fuck him up the ass with his finger. And that'll teach him not to fuck with the team. It was such a beautiful sentiment. This little kid who's this amazing hockey player. I mean, to say, if you want to say anything about Wayne Gretzky, all you have to say is this. The greatest hockey player that ever lived, more assists than goals. Come on. This dude was like Jesus. And instead he was like, no, you put it in. Because he didn't want people to figure out he was Jesus. If he put everyone in the net, everyone's going to be like, he is the Son of God. He tossed one to Yari Curry and Paul Coffey and shit like that. You put it in this time. That's from the great one. And everything I read about the dude is like humble as fuck and a nice guy, and he's always breaking off a piece for somebody. The only weird thing he does is he constantly refers to himself as Wayne Gretzky. Always refers to himself as Wayne Gretzky. He's like, that's not good for Wayne Gretzky. People have to understand that if Wayne Gretzky is going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I thought at first, I was like, that's so weird, man. It's kind of arrogant. But then I figured out what it was. From a young age, that dude learned early on the responsibility of being Wayne Gretzky, this figure that the whole world was going to look to. He knew that he was important because he was good at this thing. So he always played it low. He never bought into it and tried to be that guy. I love that about him. I'm like, this dude's the greatest natural talent on the planet, and yet he lets everyone else put the goals in and shit. So I'm watching all these videos, documentaries, this wonderful documentary called Hockey, A People's History, which tells about the history of hockey in Canada. Amazing doc. It's like Ken Burns baseball, but not boring. So I'm watching all these clips, and what happens is I'm an emotional wreck and shit. And so my room is at the end of the second floor. My room, where I'm hanging out, the library office, is at that end of the building, and then my bedroom's at the other end of the building. So I'm in my office, smoking weed, watching Gretzky videos, and crying like a child. And then periodically I get up and storm over to my room, open the door, and start telling my wife a Wayne Gretzky story. And my wife is just looking at me like, who's Wayne Gretzky? And as I'm telling the story, I'm obviously emotional, and I start crying. Like, I'm telling her the story about the kid with the fucking 2 goals. Like, I'm shocked I was able to get through tonight without glassing up. And I'm telling the story, I'm like, didn't that be fucking insane? He was gonna hold me 2 fucking goals. I'm doing that shit, and my wife is looking at me like, I can't believe I let you put your cock in me. She's like, you're not even athletic. I'm like, I know, but for some reason I really relate to this dude's story, and it just means something to me. So for a good 2 months, all you would hear in my house and see is the door of the library opening and me going, Peter Pocklington traded him. He traded him to LA, and he came to LA, and yes, hockey expanded, but that was the last time we ever won a cup. It was last year with the Edmonton Oilers. They could have won 10 fucking cups if he hadn't gone to America, but he did it for us because hockey expanded in the Sun Belt. And my wife is just sitting there going, and thinking about all those dudes she said no to. So I became, as emotional as I always was, I became even more. I have no problem crying. I'm not one of those dudes like, I can't let you see me cry. I cry like crazy. I believe in it. It's good. It's purifying. It's cathartic. I'm an artist. That's what we do. They say I'm an artist. I don't really believe it, but I'm in the arts. We cry a lot. George died, and George died, and it was shocking to me, disappointing to say the least, but shocking to me because George Carlin was hands down the smartest man I've ever known, the wisest person I've ever known. Not just wizened by age, wizened by age. He was smart. The dude was incredibly whip smart. Not book smart, I'm talking about common sense smart. Like, that dude should have been elected president. He would have fixed shit right over there. They probably did a lot of fixed shit, but he would have tried. And so I believed everything George said, except like there were some bits he did where I was like, I don't know, George, I don't agree with that. But, and also George and I really split on God. He's like, look, I did God for the first 30 years of my life, I'm done. And I was like, all right, well, I'm still in my first 30, so. And he's like, Kevin, I look forward to the day when you turn to me and be like, what was I thinking? And I was like, it'll probably happen, George, in regards to the whole God thing. So one of the many things George told me that I believed wholeheartedly, George knew exactly when he was going to die. I said, get out of here. He goes, yeah, my family, the men in my family tend to live long, so I've kind of done the math, and I'm pretty confident that I'm going to live to be 102. And I believed him because George was fucking smart, and I was just like, you know what? He put a lot of thought into it. He's probably fucking right. So George dies, and I'm like, George was wrong. And I was pissed. So what I did, though, for the next few days, everyone wanted to comment. Shit, I wrote a piece about him for Newsweek, lovely little obituary. Talked to a lot of people about him and whatnot. Told wonderful stories about him because everyone was in the same place. We're like, he's gone. Will there never be another HBO special? And so at that time, when somebody dies, you want to talk about the great things they did. And so I'd be out there going, my favorite George Carlin memory? Oh, it'd have to be at the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when he was done shooting his blowing hitchhiker scene. Which I will add, he handled like a pro. Because George was the consummate professional. George was a total actor's actor. And he wanted to act more than anything else. People thought he wanted to be comic. He wanted to act and shit like that. Treated it so fucking seriously and whatnot. So he comes to me at the end of that scene, and I said, you have a good time? He goes, yeah, but do me a favor. You gotta write me my dream part. And I said, what is it, George? And he goes, I want to play a clergyman who strangled 6 children. sacrilegious picture. And he goes, yeah, but this was going to be way different. I was like, I'll see what I can do. Next movie I wrote was Jersey Girl, which I wrote for him. Not the whole movie for him, but I wrote a huge part for him. And I sent him the script with a cover letter explaining it and shit and saying, dude, I think you're ready for this, and this is so you, and you can do this part. It's a bigger part than he'd ever had before. So he calls me back after he reads it, and I go, what do you think? And he goes, well, there's a kid in it, but I'm not strangling her. And then we were trying to get him into Zack and Mary Make a Porno. He's going to play the part that Homeboy played. What's his name? Tom Savini played the part. But that was going to be George Carlin, the guy that sold him to space or something. But George was always on a stage doing something, well, not like this, way better than this. Many nights out of the year, about 250 nights of the year, he was on stage. So his schedule didn't always work out, didn't work out. With Zack and Mary, the last thing that George Carlin said to me was like, you know what, we'll do it next time. And then he died. So, wrote the piece, did all the interviews about it, talked about it and stuff, never cried. It was always just like, you know, it's sad. I mean, he was a mentor to me of sorts, and I looked up to him, and everything I know about being on a stage presence, persona, speaking to a crowd, I learned from George Carlin. I played Carnegie Hall in June because of George Carlin. Not because he got me a gig, but because I saw George Carlin doing it at Carnegie when I was fucking 12 years old, and I was just like, that's amazing. One day I would like to do that. George made it all possible just by being that person, just by being the example. So never cried, didn't think about it, was just like, wow, it's a shame, it's a bummer, man, because I like George Carlin. George Carlin's daughter, Kelly, called me 1 week ago, maybe 6 days ago. And she's going, we're doing this biography of my dad, and you know, we're looking for some pictures, and there's this dogma picture, I wanted to know if you could approve it. And I said, oh, absolutely, I don't know if I own the picture, but I'll approve it. And I know Scott has some candidates of George from the set, so I can have him send them out there to you. And she was like, great. And she's like, how you doing? I was like, great. I was like, how you holding up? And she's like, you know, it's tough. And she's going, I gotta be honest with you. I'm now entering a world that I was never in before because everybody, now that he's gone, everybody just wants to come up to me and talk about my dad, and it's really nice, blah, blah, blah. So she goes, how are you doing? And I said, well, I'm just pissed at the dude, man. Not really pissed, but, you know, he said he was going to live to be, she was like 101, I remember. And I was like, yeah, and I believe that fucking dude. And then I just started bawling, like on the phone with this dude's daughter, who really has a right to cry because she grew up with him and knows him and shit like that. He was just a dude I worked with and whose work I really liked. And I was bawling uncontrollably on the phone, man. So I realized what I was. I was hit hard by the death of George Carlin. But my God, it was awesome that I got to work with him even for 1 minute. 1 minute, let alone all the minutes we did. I just wish I'd written him that part.